How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, a show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I'm the other host, Tim Wagner, and that was a long, dramatic pause.
I like to keep everybody on their toes. I want to keep you on your toes because this is going to be a little bit of a different podcast because the fishing take is going to be... I've been mixing around a couple names, but we're going to talk about bait shops. I want you to take me on a journey with the bait shop. And so we're going to get into that. And then in the random take, we are going to talk about traveling for events. I'm not talking about weddings. I'm not talking about your cousin's quinceañera. I'm talking about events, man. Big ones. Like shit the world pays attention to, you know, like within reason, the world, whatever.
Yep.
All right. But let's kick it off with fishing news like we do, Tim.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Tim.
Oh, man.
This is the big 4-0, dude.
Oh.
The official.
Yeah, buddy.
The official 4-0. The podcast has officially gone over the hill.
Or are we at the top of the hill?
Oh, right. How does that work again?
I don't know.
It
doesn't work like that in this because that's insinuating that it's only downhill from here.
But if you're like Zach Galifianakis' character from, oh shit, what's that movie? Him and Iron Man are in it. That's a great movie. I want to call it Road Trip.
Board. What is that one? Road Trip. Yeah, because he has the baby, right? That's the one where he has the baby.
No, the one that he has the baby. No, that's in Hangover, dude.
Is it?
Robert Downey Jr.'s character is going to have a baby, and that's why he's trying so hard to get home, is because his wife is like 2 days away from having a kid. Actually ends up going into labor while they're on their road trip.
Oh, yes.
And
I remember seeing that movie, but I can't really remember it.
Oh, it's such a good movie. It's a really
weird
good
how
one.
I can't remember it at all.
I know, because you're good at that shit.
I just have that dumb memory, man, where like I can't remember it now. And you'll start playing it, and like 2 seconds into the opening credit, I'll be like, I should really watch this again. I don't remember it.
Yep.
And then I'll watch a little bit and then just be like, I remember the whole fucking thing.
The whole movie. It's all coming back.
Yeah.
Why am I even watching this?
Like, but I want to watch it now. And I'll just be like, what's the point? I know the whole thing, I guess.
I'm going to start reciting lines. I've only seen it twice, but I'm going to start reciting lines. You're going to get annoyed.
I know I said I couldn't remember it, but I do now. All of it. The whole thing. I don't know. It's just like, it's like the files are in there and I just can't pull them up.
Right.
And then like, just like, it's like watching it again is like Google.
Yep.
You know, did you mean this movie? Oh, I did. Thanks
I did. Thanks, brain.
Yeah. Yeah. But instead I'm like mad about it. Thanks for ruining everything, brain. Why can't you forget stuff sometimes? Why can't you forget this stuff, but you forget important things all the time? You're trying to remember like where I'm going or what I'm doing, or in the morning, I'm like, I'll make coffee, like get a whole thermos ready.
Yep.
And then like halfway to work, I go, God damn it. Coffee's still sitting on the counter. I didn't bring any of it with me.
Right. And it was like the main focus of your morning for fucking 35 minutes.
Yeah, I'm really prepping. Like, it's going to be a good day. I'm not going to go to the gas station. I'm not going to spend any money on coffee. I got this whole thermos. I'm ready, baby.
I'm ready.
And then all of a sudden, it's just like,
make it nice and strong.
Money on coffee again today. Yep, had it all ready. It was going to be good. Dang.
And that's what happens when you hit the big 4-0.
Yep. Dude, I've done it before with fishing too. Since it's a fishing podcast, let me tell you, that's the worst.
Shit.
Like my parents have a cabin, get all the way to the cabin and like sitting there and like getting prepped for the morning. Like I'll get ready for fishing and I'll just grab this and I need that. And then my tackle box is just like fucking tackle boxes in the garage at home. I don't have any of my lures. I probably remember to bring all the rods. I had everything ready. And then the tackle boxes. Oh, well, I'm driving back to St. Cloud.
Right.
It's a 2-hour round trip. I have no choice.
I have
I
no
have no
choice.
choice. I cannot go fishing without my tackle. I mean, I could
Well,
go
all
buy
right.
one lure, but that's just gonna make me mad.
Right. Because you're so used to switching and shit. Well,
Right.
all right, Tim. Let's hit him with the fishing news like we do right in the beginning before we start the fishing topic and the random take. We hit it with the fishing news. So if you're new to the podcast, thank you for listening. Please hit us up, realaf.tv/contact, and let us know where you heard us. We love talking to our peoples. We got the biggest bass in Texas has been caught in 30 years. 30 years. And we got
Woo.
another big bass brought in. Pretty crazy. This one came
That
from In
is
Fisherman.
crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Because if we know anything about Texas and southern fishing and stuff like that, they're always pulling out big bass.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, is our delay that bad right now? Or are you just like waiting for me?
No, it was chunking for a while there. I thought I turned my fucking volume down too.
Okay.
Now I'm like, it's chunking. I get a text message. Like, just everything's going wrong at this moment.
Hopefully,
Dude,
hopefully it hangs in there for us so we can just burn right through this. So here's the thing: is the biggest bass in 30 years has been caught in the O-H. That's what, but the Ohive Reservoir. It's on the Colorado and
Okay.
Concho rivers. So it's like it's kind of a lake there in Texas on the
Sure.
on those two rivers. Yeah. 17.06 pounds, which is just
Hoofed.
about just about a pound shy of the state record. But like, dude, 17-pound bass. This thing is huge.
That's crazy that it's been like 30 years since they've even been close. You know, like a pound shy of. I feel like in
Well, it's a
Minnesota
pound
there are
shy of the state
8-pound
record.
bass. Right. No, I get it, but
Okay.
I'm saying like it's crazy that it's a pound shy of the state record, and that's the closest they've come in 30 years. I'm pretty sure in Minnesota there's like 8-pounders caught, not constantly, but like regularly, like where they'd just be like, "Damn, that's a big fish," and it's like it's close to the state record. You know, like we just have like there are very big fish out there. They are rare, but I think that we get like near 8-pounders out there often. You know, it's just weird to me to think
Yeah, like
that the closest you've come in 30 years is a pound shy still.
Right. Yeah, I get
So,
what you're saying.
yeah.
It's almost like every other year someone's catching that big bass here in Minnesota, right? Is like kind of what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, because I think the state record is like 8.76 or something like that. So, you know, like we're even to be within a pound, you know, if it's like 7.76 or whatever. I'm sure that's been done, you know, every year since the record's been set.
Right.
So that's gnarly.
Right.
So
Right. I got you.
to like any of that.
Yeah.
Like if you caught a 15-pound
Oh
fish,
yeah, for
you'd be
sure,
like,
for sure.
holy shit. Bass especially, not a 15-pound fish, but a bass, just like the mouth.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
oh
because we
my
are
God.
specifically. Oh my god. And the guts on these things. Oh my god. You should see, like, I'll put the In Fisherman link in the description on the YouTube video for sure. So if you go over to YouTube and look up Real Life TV, remember it's Real Like Fishing Real. You can find us there. You can look in the description and I'll have the link to the In Fisherman. And the thing that they were saying is just like it's been crazy lately because there's been these cold snaps, you know, last 2 years. Texas has been going through some decent cold snaps, and apparently, two things is this particular reservoir, the OIV reservoir. I'm not sure how you say that. Texans, let me know. There's been a lot of big bass pulled out of there. double digits. We're talking, of course, but they also have been happening during these cold snaps. It's almost like these big fish are like the only ones willing to move around when it's cold or something. I don't know.
Dude, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know. Maybe that is like something where they figured like those big fish
Mhm,
have to eat, where the rest
mhm.
you're like, they seem to be almost like gluttonous, where like they're just
Yeah.
wired to
Mhm.
eat stuff all the time, and
No
for
matter the
whatever
weather.
reason they're doing stuff a little bit different than what other people are doing because they're not getting caught. Obviously, like if that one
Mhm.
is that big and nobody else has caught anything close to that in 30 years, it's like that one was doing something different than what other people are doing. And maybe
Right.
m- maybe it has something to do with where, like when a cold front comes in, a lot of
Mhm.
times you downsize stuff. When the weather gets cold and the fish get lethargic, a lot of times you downsize stuff. And when you move a little bit slower, like fish can bite when everything's getting slower.
Mhm.
So maybe it's something where like they're using lures that they normally would use for like the bigger fish, and that is a small bait to these big fish.
Oh?
So that's why they're catching the
Oh?
monsters, because in order to be catching these fish, they'd have to like be fishing with something just gigantic. I mean, like a 17-pound
Sure.
bass has a mouth big enough to easily eat a musky bait. Like you're fishing
Oh,
musky
yeah.
baits down there.
Sure, sure.
That's
What we
yeah,
call
it's
musky baits. Yeah, they're fish they could be fishing
right.
what we call musky baits for bass.
Yes, for sure. Well, I know they do have like big swim baits and stuff that they're fishing down there
Oh, okay,
that
sure,
are
sure.
like what you would use for a muskie up here. But,
Wow.
the most popular muskie bait is like a bucktail inline spinner, like one blade and it spins and it's got a skirt. I don't
Okay.
think you would do very well fishing for bass with that, but like big swim baits where it looks like a fish and it just swims through the water, they catch monster bass on those all the time.
Oh, okay. Gotcha,
Monster bass.
gotcha.
I didn't try to do a plug right there, but monster bass.
Right. I gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah. So just to wrap this up, I wanted to bring a few things, but go over to the YouTube and give in Fisherman the link or the read there by
Yeah.
clicking on the link in the description. Top 10 bass of all time in Texas. This fell into, so that was pretty rad. And this
Yeah.
was the lake record too. So not a state record,
Okay.
like I said earlier, but they did get the lake record with this one. And apparently this has been a really hot spot for
Okay.
giants lately. So the
Nice.
cool thing is the Texas, again, what we call up here in Minnesota the DNR, they take these bad boys and they or girls, whatever they are, right? They take these big old fish, they use them for breeding.
Oh, so they like purposely breed these fish?
Yeah. Like they ask people, like the Texas Wildlife Department asks them to asks the fishers to take care of these fish because they will get them and use them for breeding. Isn't that
That's
sick, dude?
crazy. Yeah.
They didn't go
That's
into in detail with that for in Fisherman, but it might be something that maybe I'll dive into
yeah.
later. But they didn't go into detail. They just said like, and the Texas Wildlife Parks and Wildlife Department ends up taking this for their breeding program, and I was like, "Ooh, shit! What a
Yeah,
dope
so
move!"
that seems a little bit like kind of entwined with what we talked about last episode with like the mouth swab that they've been doing in it's like
Yeah,
genetics. They're trying to
yeah,
figure out like what's going on with the big fish, and then you get
right,
one that's huge.
right.
They're like, "Ah," maybe it's just a hunch at this moment where they're like, I don't know, it's big. Might as well try to get some of its
Just
babies, you know?
let's see what happens. Yeah, dude, for real. That's
See if we can
exactly what I was
breed some
thinking.
super fish here. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, super sick. Like I just had to bring that up. So all right, yeah. Try to keep those short. Try to keep the fishing news short. Let's move into housekeeping real quick. This episode is just going to be brought to you by ourselves. It's going to be patreon.com/realaftv. Remember, it's real like fish and real. If you go over to patreon.com, you can help directly support the podcast, we have as little as $1 tier. You can help subscribe, or you can subscribe and help produce the podcast. Essentially, you can help fund us and our dreams and ambitions. That's it for the ads. We are going to go adless in between the random take and the fishing topic this episode. And that is because I just want to get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I want to get into this fishing topic because I want to go on a journey.
Alright.
I want to take everybody on a journey to a bait shop. A whole new world in some cases, because I know that we have people that are not avid fishermen like you, Tim, that listen to the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And I'm not the avid fisherman like you. One, we did get out ice fishing, but we'll recap that in a later episode when we stop thinking about ice fishing. Because even though the ice is getting there now, let's not call it a season yet. Let's not call it off, because everybody knows that Minnesotans, they'll wade through a couple inches of water to get out on the ice and keep ice fishing.
28 inches. It was 28 inches last week, and it didn't get that warm yet. We still have time. There was 28 inches of ice.
Right. The beginning of March is when people get antsy to start thinking about spring, which is not a bad thing, but I feel like people get too antsy and start dismissing ice fishing. And that's true. I mean, right. I'm not trying to go there with the topic. What I'm trying to say is that we got out fishing, and you had one of the craziest bait shop stories that I've ever heard in my life. You have to have more. And I want to share. We'll let you share that, but it made me think about the fact that I've gone to, and we'll even say it, to say bait shop is a general term, I think, in what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Because what I'm talking about is, yes, okay, let's go in and get live bait. Let's take a journey here. This also made me think about your wooden dick guy. The guy who makes props for the virtual shop, for the virtual grocery stores.
Yep.
So they're doing that.
Real wooden dicks.
Right, but real wooden dicks, props for a virtual grocery store.
Yep.
So they're totally doing that for the metaverse, by the way. They're doing that. They're making those in Vegas, because Vegas is getting super big into the shooting, into the Hollywood scene, so to say.
Okay.
And so they're making those shops for VR. So that way you can go VR shopping for your groceries, and then Amazon will deliver them 6 hours later. I guarantee that's what they're doing.
Buy real groceries from a VR store.
Fucking weird. And that's coming from the tech nerd.
Honestly, it'd be if it's all, might be kind of cool if it's all laid out like a grocery store, and I just get to walk around in my living room with a VR headset on instead of
100%. That's what they're going for.
Scrolling through stuff on Amazon or Walmart.
Yep.
Just for you to order stuff in Walmart to be like, oh, we don't have half of the shit you ordered. That's so at least I could just be like, well, then why was it on the fucking shelf? I saw it.
You're still gonna have the same problems. Don't think that just because it's
no, I know. I know. Okay. Just because I just feel like hopefully there's something written in the program, or there's something,
right.
It feels like those virtual stores have a higher class of people working at them.
Right.
Walmartians. It's just
I know exactly what you mean, though. It's like if it's going to be there physically in the virtual world, you hope that they're feeding more real-time information into it too. Right. I gotcha.
Yeah, because real fast. I know I was talking shit about class of people or whatever, but last time my wife ordered food for a pickup, because we have the Walmart just deliver it to our house set up. So we ordered some food, and I had to like it wasn't supposed to get to our house until like 8 o'clock, and we were like didn't have anything else. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna run to Walmart and get food still, and
Mhm.
then we'll still have a delivery later. And
Right. Mhm.
I wanted like these crabs, and she told me like, oh no, they're like little packs, like snack packs of crab. They're like $1 a piece.
Oh, okay.
And I went there, and she's like, oh, I already ordered those, and I bought something. And I'm just like, well, dang it, well, whatever, and just like I'll just have
Right.
extras. It's
I
not that big
guess
of a deal.
extra.
And then and then they go, well, there's none. Sorry, we don't have any. It's like bullshit. I was there like right before you brought my delivery. There was a ton of them. I
And you ordered from the same store that you just went and
the
shopped in real
the
life, right?
same exact store where I just saw like 2 full boxes of them. Like there's got to be like 20 packs. And I know you didn't gather all my groceries right before you brought them to my house.
Right, right.
Like for sure that was all there on the shelf. It's
Right.
just like so that's the whole thing. Like I know they're there. You know, is
Mhm.
so it'll probably be the same thing in the virtual world. I saw them.
Right. Right.
They were right there.
Right. I'm sure it will
But
be.
anyways.
Yes. Okay. Uh so
But no,
not
no
yeah. Okay,
substitute
so
for really
let's
shopping for your groceries. Sorry.
but you know the reason why I brought all that up is because in episode 39 we go back and listen to episode 39. You'll get a little bit more context what we were talking about. But there let's go big picture first to like Shields or Cabela's or
Yeah.
Bass
Okay.
Pro Shops for the people who are down south, and talk about how we'll take the people on a journey. Because here's the thing: is I walk into the fishing department there, and I just go, "Oh, fuck, dude! There's so
There's
much
a
stuff."
there's a lot. Yeah, especially at like those big stores like that where they have a big selection.
Right.
Yeah.
So like when you walk into the fishing department, like
Yep.
just take me on a little bit of a journey. Like where does one even start? Because for me, I have always just gone in for a reel, or I've gone in for a rod,
Okay.
and then uh lure shopping for me has sort of just been like, I don't know, I'll just grab that because it looks cool. Or Tim says, go get this thing. Like I have you as a reference.
Sure.
Like, do you just go into it like knowing what you want to fish first? Is that like rule number one about going to a bait shop?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for me like it's kind of knowing what I plan on fishing for that weekend or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
um early in the season, and I know like it's not opener yet. I know I'm fishing for crappie. I don't even look at I know I'm fishing for panfish. I don't even look at any of the bigger lures because
Okay.
it's like maybe I'm getting stocked for the year, like the stuff that I know I like and that I know I'm gonna need, like jigs and whatever.
Okay.
But for the most part, like I'm just, if I need some new stuff or I want to play with some like soft plastics and try some different stuff out, I'm going for whatever I think I am targeting that
Okay.
week.
Okay. And
So like early in the season, it's like all
Mhm.
small stuff.
Okay. So you can just shop by size, just by like you walk in, it's overwhelming. But if you just walk around things that are small, right? Essentially,
Yes.
things are small.
Yep.
You can grab them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, like even when you get into the other fish, it's kind of like match the hatch, is
Uh,
a big saying that they say because you're
okay.
trying to
I've never heard that
match the
before.
hatch. Match the hatch is the term that they use because you want to match whatever they're trying to eat. It initially
Okay.
referred to like, bugs hatch under the water or whatever,
Oh,
so they're like
okay.
match the hatch. So you
Sure.
want to, like, if you're fly fishing, like I want to be throwing the kind of bug that's hatching right now, like they're eating mayflies or whatever. But the term is used for like minnows and stuff too. And a lot of times early in the season, the like new, breed of fish, they're kind of smaller and they get bigger as the year goes on. So a lot of
Okay.
times you're throwing small stuff in the spring and you
Okay.
kind of upsize as the year goes on. So even when you're throwing other stuff, so it's kind of smaller stuff in the summer or the springtime.
Okay.
Um, but like for me, like you start learning stuff about different bait shops. And like one of them, Fleet Farm, I go to. So the
Okay.
first thing that I'm doing when I go to Fleet Farm
Mm-hmm.
is I walk around looking for, they put up tags on anything that's on sale. And I also look for
See, this is,
tags.
yeah, dude. This is the
I
stuff I
also
didn't
look
even think about. I knew this is why I wanted to do this topic. Hell yeah.
so so yeah, they'll put up their sale items, but they also like do discontinued stuff for whatever reason, and sometimes it might
Oh,
just be a certain color. So I walk around looking for their yellow tags because their regular tags are like white and orange, but they'll have a yellow tag, and those are like discounted,
nice.
and they're going to be discontinued from what I understand. So you
Okay.
just walk. I just walk up and down every aisle looking for yellow tags, and when I see a yellow tag, I walk over and I don't immediately just buy it because it's cheap, but I walk over and I go, "Oh, what's the deal on?" And then
Okay.
every once in a while you miss out. You know, you're just like, "Oh, there's a yellow tag," and
Yep.
like the whole rack is cleared off, and you're like, "Motherfucker!" Like I get
Shit.
it. Like I'm not the only person that knows about this.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. You kind of got to have a general idea of what you're going for, because even if you go there and ask somebody to help you out, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta at least even know like a question to ask.
Oh.
You can't, like you could go in and just be like, "I'm going fishing this weekend," and then they just be like, "Well, you come to the right spot. We have things to buy. What are you fishing for?" And it might still work out, because
Sure.
I would tell you, like what you should try for.
Mm-hmm.
If you have no like clue on what you're doing, I'd probably try to set you up with like bobber fishing anyways. So it's, like
Because that's kind of just
a
default
novice
in a
that
way.
has yeah, like a novice that has no direction or idea what they're doing. I'd just be like, live bait, know your regulations so you're not keeping stuff you're not supposed to, but just go out, try to fish for something. But if you want to use some artificial lures, you know, for
Right.
me, like I would hope that the other people at the bait shops would be the same way,
Okay.
like if you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to use some artificial lures, and if somebody
Mm-hmm.
like, if they were looking to buy everything, I'd try to point them in the right direction. If they had like, this is the kind of rod and reel I have, what can I fish? I'd
Mm.
just be like, here's some
Mm.
stuff that you can do, so I'd try to
Mm-hmm.
point them in the right direction. But yeah, it helps to at least have at least a vague idea of what you're going for,
Sure.
like I
Sure.
heard, even like it's like fishing opener, what should I use? Like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
well, fishing opener is, it's opener because it's now you can fish for walleye, and
For a
northern is
walleye.
what you can keep.
Right. Okay.
So, maybe we should try for some walleye, and then
Yeah.
it kind of comes down to like, what body of water are you fishing? Because you fish
Sure.
a river and a lake a little bit differently, but you can't
Sure.
really go wrong with the jig. So I'd be like, get some jigs, get some live minnows,
Sure.
bounce that shit off the bottom.
Right, 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 right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's that when you said the like I'm going fishing this weekend, like if you walked in with that vague attitude, it if you did that near or on opening weekend, I should say, or soon after opening weekend,
Yep.
I think that the person helping you would just instantly assume that, right? Like, oh, you want some walleyes, you want some
Yeah.
northerns, and they would be like, here's the walleyes, here's the northerns, right? Like they should point you that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you didn't know, or I think they would at least be able to ask you some other questions, like, what are you looking to do? Are you trying to
Sure,
feed some
sure.
people? Are you trying to have a fish fry? Like, what's the goal here?
Right, good point.
And that I'm gonna say this, like, because I was just talking about, I go to Fleet Farm and looking for deals and stuff, but that's kind of more of like a a pro move,
Mm.
like where I see the stuff discounted and I know if I want to get it or not. Like, don't just go buy out stuff because it's on sale, because sometimes it's on discount for a reason.
Right. But
Like,
it's
just
still a good move
don't.
for those people who know what they want. Like that's still a
Right.
great
Yep.
tip.
And this move where I'm talking about going in and asking somebody, you're gonna have way better answers at Cabela's, or like a Shields has been really cool for me. Like
Yeah.
Shields, the
Yeah.
guys are in their specific locations because they know. Like
Right. Right.
just a little behind the scenes insight on Fleet Farm. back in the day, I think that they know what they're talking about, but they try to like kind of avoid you. They're not trying to be helpful and ask you questions like they do at like Shields and Cabela's. Like
Mm-hmm.
I went in, um, I worked there for a short amount of time, a
Mm-hmm.
long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I went in and I was like sporting goods. I was like, I would like to work in the sporting goods department, please. Like I'm an avid fisherman. I know what I'm talking about. Like I
Mm-hmm.
could help some people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, everybody wants to work in the sporting goods. What else you like? And I'm like, I like cars. And they're like, good, you're in the automotive department. So then it's like, well, I like cars, but I don't know all the different types of additives that you put in your fuel and stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
it's
Right.
like, just depending on when they hired these people, you know. So they might
Right.
have, it might have been the opposite way. They're like, I want to work in the automotives department.
Yeah.
Automotives department full. You like fish? Yeah. Okay. You know, they don't have specialists like the other stores. And they
Yeah.
seem to just kind of hide. It's always busy at Fleet Farm and everybody's asking them questions and they got stuff to do where Shields seems like
It's like
they're
Home
there
Depot.
just to answer your questions, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I get that at Home Depot so damn much. I get it at uh, the any giant hardware store. I get that exact move where it's just like, oh, I don't really want to talk about it. I think they're gonna just ask me too much specifics, and I just don't want to deal with those
Right.
people right now.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Like, you remember
Just
that
I
movie
gotta.
Superstore, or is it? No, it's not Superstore. That's the name of the employee of the month with Dane Cook. Like Dane Cook's
Yes, that's a good
only
one.
they were just like building shit in the rafters. Like they had a break room in the rafters. They were just
Yeah,
avoiding
that was
customers on
yeah, that
purpose.
was one of the shelves where they just like had all the different pallets of stuff. They like moved one of the things. They could go up inside
Right.
and it was
The
like
like
behind
warehouse
all the
racking
pallets. They
inside
had
the
like
store.
yes, exactly. Yep.
And it's just
Andy
like
Dick
when
is
you
so
go
good in
to
that
those
movie.
big stores like that, when you go to your hybrid store like that, I feel like that is what's happening. But when you go to like, well, Bass Pro Shop is very specific to fishing, but like they have other stuff because like Cabela's is
Yeah,
very much a mixed outdoorsman type of place. And so you have this like outdoor store with each department in it, and each person, or like essentially the employees in those departments are fairly knowledgeable, like are actually damn knowledgeable about
sure.
what they're talking
Yeah.
about. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because
I
it's like
think
little stores inside a giant store, right? Wouldn't that be a way to
yeah,
describe like the Cabela's around here?
yeah. Yeah, there I mean it legitimately does have little stores inside of it. There's like fudge shops and stuff for most of them, you
Hey, yeah,
know.
I forgot about those. You're right. Yeah, there's like literally a candy store just off to the right. You're like, I don't know, put the kids in the candy store. Fuck it, let's go buy guns.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, you go buy some taffy. I gotta shoot some shit. No, but um I think that they Bass Pro Shops, I haven't been to one in a while, but I think that they are a lot more like Cabela's now because they own Cabela's. They bought
right,
Cabela's.
right.
So like I think they are pretty much all the same thing. That was just a side note, but yeah, like for sure it
Hmm.
is like a its own little stuff. You know, like if you went to the hunting section, I mean, good chance they're going to be able to answer some questions either way. But
Right.
if you go to talk to the guy at the gun counter and then you're just like, "You think I should use a jerk bait?" That guy's just going to be like, "You were in the wrong de- department. Like, go
Right.
upstairs. They'll tell you."
Right.
Where
Yeah, for
like
sure.
your bet is as good as anybody at a Fleet Farm, and just ask
Yep.
anybody there, and just like, I
Right. They're gonna
mean,
be like, oh,
I,
here's the
I'm
fishing
talking
stuff.
harsh about it, but like that's my experience from the one here in town. There might be better
Well,
ones someplace
no,
else
I
where they
mean, I
have
live by a fleet farm as
helpful
well, and
employees.
it's like, no, but you're right, because it's like a hardware farm supply,
Yeah,
and with farm supply becomes an outdoor stuff, right? Like that's
right,
just kind of how it just all, if you live outdoors, you work outdoors, you live outdoors, right? And it just becomes a part, and it becomes an add-on to what they do. And it's not, you're right, we're not shitting on them in any way. It's just that there's a difference. Like up here, I mean across the country, but because we live in Minnesota, Best Buy, there's like literally an Apple section, and then there's like a Windows
Yeah,
section, and then
right.
there's a TV section, right? And it's just like, so there's a pretty good
Yep.
chance you're going to get to know those people now. Probably much like you going into a fleet farm, you outknow most of those people. That happens to me at Best Buy. I go in there and I'm just like, yeah, I need this, this, and this. And they're like, and I go, yeah, you can't help me. I'll go find it. Um,
Right.
but at least for a, like a beginner, a rookie, like from a tech nerdy standpoint, I would just be like, yeah, go into a Best Buy, look for the giant Apple symbol, walk over there. Trust me, they're going to be able to help
Right.
you find your next
Yep.
Apple product. It's going to work.
Yep. Yeah, very, very similar kind of stuff. It's just that it gets a little bit more difficult with fishing because it's not all, like one thing. Like
That's actually what. No, go
I'm
ahead.
understanding the analogy. It's just that like it's like you're like I need to get a phone and they're just like we can help you out with the phone. And that
Right.
one thing does everything, but this one is like you need to
Right.
get a rod and a reel and everything and just like
Mm-hmm.
you can't fish every lure with every rod. It just doesn't work.
Right. And that's exactly actually you're taking me down the exact path that I wanted to go, and that is like I as a tech person can tell somebody, well, go to the Best Buy, look for the PlayStation symbol, go there, you're going to be able to find PlayStation controllers. You're going to be able to find PlayStation games.
Right.
You're going to be able to find what you need, what you're looking for there. Just go there. But every single time that I've been into, let's bring it down even to your local bait shop. Let not get away from the big guys that we've been talking about, but even bring it down to your local bait shop. It's not like you can just walk in and be like, there's a sign. It's like it's not like a grocery store or again, like an electronics store where I can say, just look for the PlayStation symbol. It doesn't just say crappies, sunnies, and panfish, right? Bass, largemouth,
Right.
smallmouth. Like you don't go into a bait shop and see that shit. So like, how do you even get there? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that a weird way to put it?
Yeah. No, I get you. I get you. One thing that you can do for not all brands have this stuff, but like I know that Northland Tackle is like famously on their packaging.
Mm.
When you flip it over, it says,
Oh,
bass, crappie,
nice.
walleye. Like it's like, oh, I could use this to catch all these things because they'll bite on it. Like
Right, right,
it
right.
might not be the best lure for the job, but you got a shot at any of them
Okay.
because we've
Yeah.
talked about it on the podcast before and stuff. Like finding fish is another part. If you have the right lures and you're fishing off of the dock at the boat landing,
Yeah.
you know,
Good point. Yep.
you're probably not going to catch a walleye,
Right. Mm-hmm.
but you got a chance at a bass or some sunfish, maybe
Mm-hmm.
some crappie depending on the lake.
Right.
But like crappie and walleye probably aren't. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky,
Sure.
where they're like, I can get you the right lures and stuff. That's where river fishing kind of gives everybody a fair playing field.
Okay.
But that's
What do you mean?
almost where it goes like the opposite. Like, well, because you're like, if you're fishing from the shore, you have a shot at catching most stuff depending on where you fish,
Okay.
and then you can go in and use whatever they tell you to. I think that this will work on the river,
Hmm.
um, and you can go out there and fish. You know, using that example of like fishing from the dock at the landing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
you're river fishing and you're shore fishing, I'm gonna be fishing at the exact same spot as the person that's never fished before. We're both fishing right there.
Right.
Like
Right. Right. Yeah. For sure. I
so
gotcha.
like I
It's like
think
a.
I think certain rivers and like dams and stuff, like you got chances at catching these big
Mm-hmm.
fish and walleyes and whatever because of like just the current and the food source kind of puts them all in the same spot, where a lake, you got to
Mm-hmm.
have a boat for the most part. You got to go out and find them on that structure because they're not just going to be right there accessible to everybody.
Right. Right. Yeah. But when you're off the bank, yeah, like you said, it's just walk up, throw it in.
Yep. Yep.
That's kind of it. So when you're, because you're not able to just walk up and find this, like I said, almost grocery store like um assembly of items where you can just look up and say aisle 10 is where I get the panfish stuff. Do bait shops organize like that even, or is it by brand? Like, because I, I'm thinking broad too. I'm talking from Shields to the local shop. Like, what have you seen, and what advice do you have for people who may not necessarily get great assistance, which we'll get into shortly because I want you to tell your story
Sure.
about the assistance
So
you.
it's so it's a little bit tricky in that circumstance too, because for the most part they're sorting them by lure style.
Style.
Is
Okay.
how, yeah, like when you go into uh bait shop, or like it's easier to describe the bigger ones because the smaller ones are, a lot of times don't have the selection, so there's not
Oh,
the
sure.
organizing like the other ones. But like when you
Yep.
go into the big ones, like Meps makes inline spinners.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was talking about, like with the muskies, but smaller, and they have big ones too.
Okay.
There's a Meps muskie killer, giant killer, and then it goes down to the Aglia, and they're smaller, and those work great on the river. I've talked about those before, but that is an inline spinner, so it's like one blade,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes there's two blades, but it's basically a blade, the like body of the bait, which is like a weighted kind of like cylinder, and
Mm-hmm.
then a treble hook that has a feather on it most
Mm-hmm.
of the time, sometimes not. There's going to be like a whole one aisle of those. It's like that's all it
Of
is.
just
And
maps
then
or.
yeah, well, yeah, so you'll have all the different kind of maps, all the different kind of colors and the sizes. Most of the time it's like
Hmm.
small on the top, and then it gets bigger as you go down in the
Oh,
aisle, because
okay.
you'll have a
Okay.
lot of the same color. You'll have the small version of this color here and the big versions on the bottom,
Oh, but they're all
So,
that inline spinner thing, like
yeah,
style
yep.
that you're talking about. Oh,
Yep,
okay.
but then
Okay.
they'll put those brands in the same spot too.
Sure.
So, Maps also makes some spoons and stuff. So you got like mostly their spinners, and then you got some spoons on the end. And then
Hmm.
like the next spot is probably some more spoons or whatever. Then you got one row that's like just jigs. All it is jigs, like Northland tackle jigs and everybody else's jigs. And, like
Mhm.
that's just like every jig you could think of is there.
Okay.
And then there's like terminal tackle. So your weights, your hooks, your swivels,
Ah,
bobbers, all that kind of stuff is in the same area. And then you'll
okay.
have like one whole row's Rapala. The next whole row, like you get into like the hard baits for like bass fishing that aren't Rapala. Rapala is like big enough that it's like
Right.
here's my whole row, and then they're
Right.
like, here's our booyah and bagley, and like all the different hard baits. That there's super famous ones, but their company's just not that big. They
Okay.
they'll have a selection, but they don't
Sure.
have like 20 different kinds of lures in like 20 different colors like Rapala
Sure.
does. They're just
Sure.
like, and then that's a size thing too. There's small versions and there's big versions of everything.
Oh, okay. And they'll all be in one
But then,
area again, just like the spinner
yeah,
baits
see,
or
for the
you were
most
talking about?
part, so that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because if you were trying to find stuff that's like
Mm.
for panfish, there
Mhm.
might be like downsized crankbaits
Oh,
in a different aisle. So
okay.
sometimes you might even have to ask for that, because like they
Shit.
do make
Okay.
small crankbaits for like crappies and stuff, but a lot of
Sure.
times you're not finding those right next to all the other ones. It's like almost in its own aisle. Not saying that there won't be. You
Right.
definitely could find all like the micro kind of stuff on the
Okay.
top. Like
Okay.
here, Rapalas probably are right next to the Rapalas. They're probably not in a different area, but like
Okay.
the different brands, like Strike King.
Oh,
Strike King has all their bass stuff in by like those same bass lures.
yeah.
But then Strike King also has a lot of like Mr. Crappie, like Strike King Mr. Crappie stuff,
Okay. Okay.
where it's all like downsized crappies, and those are probably in there's probably a little section of like just panfish where it's like stuff that's downsized
Oh,
that's
okay.
not as popular here in Minnesota. So that makes it a little bit tricky too in
Mm.
different states.
Right, right.
Because if you go down south where crappies are huge and you're allowed to have like a spider rig on the front of your boat where you have like 7 rods per each person
Sure,
and
sure,
they're,
sure.
you know,
Yeah, and
that
you're just trying to pull gobs of panfish out of the water.
right, right. Yeah, there's crappie tournaments down there where they're just like trying to get giant stringers of fish just for every tournament. Like every single one of us caught our limit today. So we
Really?
all caught, like 15 fish apiece and there's 70 fishermen. And it's like,
Holy shit.
seems like a lot. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to put them back. Like, all right, okay.
What? Oh, okay.
So no,
Holy
I don't
shit.
know if they. I would assume that they put them back and stuff, but they
Right,
go
okay.
hard on crappies down there. I mean, we do
Really?
too, but we fish to eat crappies for the most part up here.
Yeah, and we
When we
don't have
catch
a huge
monsters or
limit
whatever.
either. What is it? Like between 5 and 10?
I think it's 10 is what we're at now. It used to be 15, and I'm pretty sure it's 10 now.
Yeah, I think it's down to
So
10 now. Well, we'll know soon because actually by the time this podcast drops, the new regs might be out. We'll have to keep an eye because remember, we're keeping an eye on the eel pout, Tim.
oh, the new regs probably are out
Oh shit, you think
because
they
it's
drop at
time
the
to.
beginning of March?
Well, if we have to go buy, maybe not
Right.
because fishing opener hasn't come out.
Yeah.
Normally, I deliver a bunch of boxes to
Oh, cuz you
a
deliver
couple
to
of yeah.
fishing crowd. You
Well,
work in sort
and
of a fishing manufacturing area of Minnesota.
and just like gas stations and stuff. Like I'll have
Oh
like
shit,
one
of course.
box for
Duh.
each one because they'll have like the fishing regulation books and stuff. And I
Right, right,
don't
right.
think I've got any of those books. So, but yeah. So back to um, the sections and stuff.
Yeah,
Then you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
like there's soft plastics as well. So you have all your
Oh,
soft
right,
plastics where like there's
right.
the worms and there's the different baits, and those seem to be a lot of times kind of like organized in kind of fish oriented almost.
Okay.
Like here's all our worms, and then here's our like like swim bait tails and stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
um but I think that's more depending on the store too. So like just again, you got to kind of know what you're going for there, because that is a whole different bag of worms. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh, I know what you're saying.
that's yeah, so you can go in there, but like you gotta know how to rig everything up. But that's another
Sure,
thing.
sure.
Like even if you watch a YouTube video out there or something, and you hear somebody talking about it, and they're like, "Oh, we want to fish a Texas rig." If you are not familiar, and you go into one of those stores and you say, "I want to fish a Texas rig,"
Mhm.
any self-respecting dude working in a fishing department is going to be like, I will set you up with a Texas rig, because that one is just like, you got to know
Right
what a
on.
Texas rig is. If you work
Okay,
in the
okay.
fishing department and you shake your head like, I don't know what that is,
Mhm.
unless you have the excuse of just being like, I'm more of a walleye fisherman. I
Mm.
Let me get somebody who knows bass. Then it'd be like, okay, like
Right.
if you're strictly like, I don't do anything with bass,
Sure, sure. I
but I'd
gotcha.
still think you'd know what it is.
if
And
you
for
if
anybody
you're
listening, it's
if
just
you're as
a
avid as your Department of
yeah,
Employment tells me that you are, you should know because
right.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've definitely heard of a Texas rig. We've definitely mentioned them and talked about them on the podcast, but I still go, yeah, I wouldn't be able to set that up.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's just a bullet weight and then a hook, and then you put the worm on the hook. That's all it is.
Oh, okay.
And the bullet weight can move freely, and they have like pegs so you can
Hmm.
peg your weight so it doesn't move. And some fishermen are like, I will never not peg my weight. But
Mm.
then you have like Shaw Grigsby, who is a professional fisherman with a big old mustache and gets excited when he sees beavers. That was a big old beaver.
Yeah.
He just go, I threw out my bait. I thought it was gonna be a 10-pounder. Turned out to be a big old beaver. He loses it when he sees that beaver. Try to find that
Yeah,
YouTube
dude.
video out there. Oh man. But he doesn't peg his weights, because when
Mm.
you're working the bait or whatever and you feel the fish bite, the
Mhm.
beauty of having that weight like not pegged is when that bait gets sucked in by that fish, he doesn't feel, or she doesn't feel your weight.
Mm.
your weight's just free floating there. When you
Mm-hmm.
peg it, it knows that the weight's there, but they might
Right.
hold on to it for a second longer without
Interesting.
that weight. But
Interesting.
anyways, yeah. So that's kind of what you're looking at. And then a lot of them too in Minnesota, you'll have like a whole aisle for muskie lures.
Oh,
And
like
that's a
just
whole
that actually is its like own breed aisle for to
yep,
sort of
yep.
stray away from what we've been talking about of like, oh, it's kind of mixed in. Now you get to the musky lure part and it's just like, oh no, we just have a lure like
Yep.
row for that
Yeah.
shit, huh?
Yeah, cuz there's not yeah, right. Exactly. Cuz there's not enough to be like here's a whole section of just this kind of lure.
Mm.
They'll be like, here are all the massive lures that we have. Here are the biggest lures of every
Ah,
kind that we have.
right, right,
And
right.
so that's where it can get a little bit tricky too, like if you know what you're trying to fish, because there might be a big rapala that you want to use, and that's probably in the rapala section.
Oh shit.
Or there's a big MEPS that you want to use, and that's probably in the MEPS section,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah,
But
I do know.
the
I
musky
get
lures,
exactly what you're saying. It's just like
yeah.
another layer of complexity of how things are organized.
Right, but don't be scared to go in there like we were talking about, like the different stores.
Mhm.
If you're one of those people, here's a good analogy. If you're one of those people that goes to a car dealership and you don't want to talk to a car salesman in Minnesota, go on a Sunday because there's no salespeople there. You can just look
Sure.
at cars and nobody's going to say stuff to you. But if you like to have somebody ask you a question, go on a weekday because
Right.
they'll probably come out and talk. On Saturday, they're a little bit busy and they might want to try to get to as many people as they can and not
Mhm.
just sit down with you. But like on a Tuesday night, they might be bored and you might have some questions, and it's a good time to just
Sure.
talk to them.
Mhm.
If you have questions and you want to talk to somebody, Shields is a perfect place to go. Like we were talking about, you don't want to talk to anybody, go to Fleet Farm. I've
Ah.
wandered around Fleet Farm for like 2 hours before and nobody said a fucking thing to
Never
me.
seen a person. Never seen an employee
No.
anywhere.
Oh, I see them, but when I make eye contact, they're just like, you
What?
don't look at him.
What?
He's
Shit.
if he's it's like
If you
it's
make
like
eye
I'm a T
contact, he's
Rex.
going to say something.
If I yeah, it's like it's what are the kind of gorillas where it's just like
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
it's basically like talking shit when you make eye contact.
Right, right, right.
Oh, if I look directly into his eyes, we're gonna fucking fight.
We're going to
I
have to
can't do
fight.
this.
Son of a bitch. Look away. Look away. Look away.
Yep. Yeah. So
Or we
places
have to
like that are
gauge
good,
battle.
and the local bait shops, a lot of times they want you to catch fish worse than the big stores do because they want you
Sure.
to come back and they want to be helpful
Oh,
because
yeah.
a lot of their business goes based off of like them being helpful.
Right.
So they might not
Shit,
have the
dude.
best
Good point.
selection. I guess it depends on where your bait shops are. The ones around
Mhm,
here are a
mhm.
little bit weak, and it's because we have a couple of big box stores that they
Mm,
can't really compete with in prices and stuff.
right.
So, but if you have those small bait shops, especially the owner, like that person got into that field because they love fishing for the most
Right.
part, like
Yeah.
that's how they did it, and
Good
they're
point.
probably going to be able to answer your questions for you.
Yeah.
But you might have the circumstance where they're like a one fish kind of deal, and they'll be able to tell you like, I have everything
Mm.
people are asking for, but this is what I go for. Because I don't know if you remember, but me and you went to grab some bait one time in St. Cloud
Mhm.
at one of the stores, and we went in and we were asking like, what are you hearing, what are people saying and stuff, and he's just like, I really just kind of fish for catfish. And then we're like, oh damn, tell us about that. Like we don't know about catfish that much, so
Yeah, yeah.
let's hear what you have to say, dude.
Fuck. No, I don't remember that. That's crazy. That
Oh,
happened?
you
That
don't
was
remember
me and
that?
you?
Yeah, that was over on like Highway 10, like the opposite
Oh,
side of town
yeah,
from
yeah,
where I
yeah.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I know what you're talking about
yeah,
right as soon as you said it, but I was like, "Fuck, really?" God, I wish I would have
yeah,
remembered that better because I love catfish. I always have. Like, I've had a thing for catfish ever since the video game fishing days back in the day because they were always the monsters. They were the hard thing to catch, and then I figured out you could fry them, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I'm
yeah,
hooked."
yep, yep,
So
yep.
wow, yeah,
So
shit,
yeah,
I don't remember that, but okay, so that guy was a cat fisherman. So Yeah, you can run into that in the local shop, huh? I never thought about that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty rare to have that circumstance, you
Sure.
know, like especially in Minnesota. I don't think a lot of people are just like, "Oh, basically just fish for catfish." Like,
Oh, I think that is
okay,
unique, but also to get somebody who, like, if you were to go to your local spot and they were like, "Well, honestly, pretty much a walleye crappie spot. Like, I'm
yeah,
good. I'm good at that." And you're going out muskie hunting. Like, I wouldn't think that is rare.
yeah, right, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's go give it a shot. The worst they can do is just be like, really not the guy to talk to about that, and then you just be like, oh, okay.
Right.
And then if you
Right.
leave
Right.
and don't buy anything from them, it's their fault. You know,
Yeah,
you went in for
you
help
make a great
thinking that
point.
they were the experts, and if they don't have any answers for you, then you just be like, well, if you don't know what any of these baits are, then why am I supposed to buy them?
Yeah.
Peace. You
Yeah.
know?
No, seriously, that's a really good point. And I've been to throughout my years, I've been through to some of the local bait shops, and uh, you can tell. I think this is where we'll get into you telling your story, and whether you want to put that place on blast or not. But it's you can go to these local shops, right? And they're going to have a selection of different kinds of live bait. You can go to the I'll just say like Quick Trip, right? There's if a Quick Trip is in a lake town, it has live bait. But what are you getting? Night crawlers, waxworms. They have a fucking cooler full of these
Yeah.
prepackaged baits from Wisconsin,
Yep.
and they just jam them in a cooler, and that's what you get. It says live bait outside, but that's what you get. Now you go to a
Right.
local bait shop and they're going to have suckers. They're going to have crappie minnows. They're going to have this and that, but you're not going to find the same thing everywhere. I don't think. I think it's good. It's going to depend on kind of like the lakes they're around and stuff like that. That's what I've seen.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, for the most part in Minnesota, like we have so many lakes and so much stuff that you're probably going to see like sucker minnows, fatheads, and crappies at every
So there's
place.
like a standard three, sort of.
Yeah, those three are pretty standard.
Sure.
Shiners are a little bit harder to come by, but
Okay.
still most places will have shiners. But
Hmm.
um, those are always too a little bit. They're more expensive too because they're harder to come by. So they're just like
Oh, like it's harder for the
shiners
bait
are.
shop themselves to get the bait, so they have to charge more, right?
Yes.
That's that sort of
Yep.
situation. Sure.
Right. Yep. And they're just like they're effective. They look good.
Sure.
They have more flash than a normal minnow and stuff. So
Sure.
like where sucker minnows and shiners are kind of sold in the same regards, where
Hmm.
like crappie and fathead are sold by the scoop.
Oh, okay.
Shiners and sucker minnows are sold by like the half dozen
Oh, like
or
the
dozen.
bait shop will
Like
like pre-package them, or how does that work?
no, they actually like count them. They'll like
Oh
grab
shit.
them with the scooper like normal, but they'll just be like, "There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your
Oh, okay.
6."
Okay.
So yeah, they're just more expensive.
Sure.
They're
Sure.
bigger baits and they're harder to find. That's it's just like any other fish. Like trying to find little tiny fish are a little bit easier, and they're smaller schools too. But whatever. We don't have to get into like how bait is harder or easier to come by, but
Yeah, but I
it's
think
also
what
the
we
time of
oh, go
year.
ahead, go ahead.
I was saying also the time of year. Like you're not going to find leeches everywhere
Oh,
throughout the year,
oh,
but
really?
in the spring and the summertime, leeches are easy. When you get into the fall, you won't see any more leeches.
Really?
This
I
time of year, no leeches. There's waxworms
like
for the most part.
ice
Is really
like this end of ice fishing, start of spring fishing, just leeches are not a thing at bait shops.
yeah.
Huh.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Oh,
Even like night crawlers
shit.
and stuff. I don't think those are even any place. It's like waxworms and euro larva is what you find right now.
Really? Well, I suppose, I mean, the
Yep.
ground's frozen up here, and the majority of in this central part of
Also,
Minnesota, like, you just nobody's
doesn't
digging them up.
euro
Nobody can dig them up.
yeah,
It's fucking frozen.
sure, that's very true. Doesn't Euro larva sound like just not that bad?
Euro
Like
larva?
Yeah, they're maggots.
Oh.
You know how I know that?
Right.
You,
No, how?
you know how I know? Uh, Here's a science experiment you can do. Just get Eurolarva and then just keep them alive for a while. They turn into flies.
Gross, dude. Gross.
I completely forgot about them and like set them in my back room. It was like at the end of the season, like they're in a plastic container, so they can't
Sure.
get out. But it was like
Sure.
the end of the season, and I forgot I had them. And I go to like get everything ready for this year, and I just have like a
Oh,
plastic thing of flies. I'm just
flies.
like, oh, I'm so
Oh,
glad that I found these once they were all
fuck.
dead. I would
Dude,
have been
that's
like, this is
so
fucking
gross.
disgusting.
That is so gross.
Yeah,
So,
so Eurolarva sounds not that bad.
and then
Nobody buy them if you call them maggots. Get your maggots.
so gross. So before we wrap, we're not going to get to your story about your fantastic ice fishing bait shop. We're going to have to save that for our ice fishing wrap up, which we are going to do here once the ice actually starts to break up, and we'll get into spring fishing. So, because I want before we wrap up the fishing topic here of bait shops, I want to talk about the keep talking about the live bait situation. You gave great pointers like you're not going to find fucking night crawlers probably, you're not going to find leeches, but like what is sort of the uh etiquette around going in and buying that? Like how do you even go about buying live bait, because you talked a lot about you could look at the back of the Northland tackle and it'll probably tell you what to fish short of the crappie minnow. Duh. What are you going to fish for with that? But like when a bait shop has live bait available, sort of
Yeah.
what do you go about? How do you go about that? That's what I'm trying to say.
So how do you go about buying it, or how do you go about
Yeah, like
deciding what to buy?
yeah, how would you go about just even kind of both, I guess, if you can in a fairly short amount of time, is like how do you even go about knowing what you want, and then how do you go about buying it? Like what is normal
Sure.
procedure?
Yeah. So I mean, again, it kind of comes down to what you're targeting. If you're trying to catch
Mhm.
anything, night crawlers are a good standard. You don't have to ask anybody about them either. Like if you don't know what's going on and you're kind of like shy and stuff, you can go in and just get a tub of night crawlers.
They're usually just sitting in the
Um,
mini fridge.
yep. Pay attention to what you're buying, because there are differences in worms. Because there are anglers and then there are night crawlers.
Sure.
Angler worms are like a lot smaller. They're a lot skinnier. It's like the shit you find in your garden, or like when it rains, when you see like the little
The
ones.
little
That's
ones
what
on the
they are.
sidewalk. Sure.
Yep. And I never buy those ever. I
No.
don't know.
No. Who
Maybe
buys those?
people have luck with them with certain stuff, but like night crawlers, you can just cut into smaller pieces. If I'm
Right.
fishing for a small fish, I just use less of the night crawler.
Right.
So night crawlers are always good because you can catch a walleye will eat a night crawler as long as you have like the right hook set up, or depending on the water clarity.
Right.
A bass will eat a night crawler. A sunfish will eat a night crawler. Crappies are probably like less likely to eat a night crawler, but you're still gonna catch them on the night crawler. So that's a good standard for anything. Like if you're just trying to go out there catch something, a hook and a bobber, with
And
a
some worms.
weight and some worms. You got a good shot at catching whatever.
Nice. And you
That
don't
doesn't
have to
work too
deal with
well in the
anybody
river
too
with
if
high
you're like you
current.
said. I think that's one of the big things about the whole bait shop. Like going into bait shop. If you're new and you feel intimidated, just go in there, engage
Yep. Yep.
in a short conversation and
Yep.
you're out.
Right.
Good point.
And in the minnow, in the summertime, if it's hot out, when your water gets hot, that can kill the fish pretty quick.
Mm,
So it's always a good idea to have a minnow bucket so you can keep it in the water so it stays the same temperature as the water surrounding it.
right.
Um, but if you want to buy some minnow and take your chance on putting it in whatever bucket, and you think it's embarrassing to walk in with your mop bucket like I was fishing with this weekend because I forgot my other bucket,
Right, right.
you can go in and they have bags. Everybody has bags.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they just put a bag inside like a pitcher, and then they'll put some water in that pitcher, and then they'll give you the fish out of their, like if you're getting
Mhm.
crappies or whatever, and they'll
Yeah.
put them in there and they'll tie the bag shut, and then you take the bag and you do whatever you want with the bag, put it wherever. Like
Right.
trying to
Nice.
scoop stuff out of the bag isn't really going to work that well unless you got some sort of a, way to close the bag up every time you open it up to,
Mm.
scoop out some minnows or
Yeah, like a
whatever.
chip
But
clip or something, right?
yeah, right, yeah, something like that. But um, yeah, when crappie minnow, pretty self-explanatory. It's a smaller minnow, so like if you think that you can catch walleye on a crappie minnow too,
Sure.
pike and stuff. So they're just a smaller minnow, really. A
Sure.
fathead's a little bit bigger than a crappie minnow, and fathead is normally what people fish for walleye for. And then also like sucker minnow and shiner minnows can be used for walleye and stuff too. Sucker minnows are a lot of times used for pike, or like in the wintertime they use it as like a decoy
Mm.
for like spearfishing sometimes too, or on
Oh.
tip ups or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
So you can get the big ass, like sucker minnows can get big, man, like a foot
Really?
long. Yeah, and then they'll put them as like a decoy, and they'll just let it sit there and swimming and stuff, and then the big fish comes up to look at it, and then they just spear it through the big
Oh,
hole or whatever. But
right, right.
this time of year, when you're trying to find stuff, like again, it makes sense to know what you're going for. Like you just buy whatever bait. The
Mhm.
same hook and a bobber you can get minnows with. You don't have to have anything special. You can put
Mm. Yeah,
when the
yeah,
when
yeah,
the
of
crappies
course.
are spawning,
Good point.
coming up here,
Yeah.
hooking a minnow on a bobber is so effective to catch
Right,
spawning
yeah, yeah.
crappie.
When you first said it, it kinda caught me off guard. I was like it it just hit me like, "Oh, yeah, duh. Great
Yep.
point," because to me,
Yeah.
uh, having done this long enough, even as the amateur, in the two-person conversation, it was just like, "Wait, what did you just say? Great fucking point, dude."
Yeah.
Because to me, it was just
Uh
like, "Well, duh, you do that." And so, yeah,
yeah.
good move, good move.
We've talked about slip bobbers before. A
Mhm,
slip bobber is so versatile. You can fish walleye with them. Like I was saying, you put a worm on that thing. You can put a minnow on there just the
mhm,
same. You can hook them
mhm,
from the tail. You can hook them from the face. I haven't caught many walleye fishing with a minnow on a hook, but
mhm,
you can do it for sure. But
mhm.
a a small hook with a leech bobber fishing, deadly, deadly for walleye. Caught such big walleye fishing it like that.
Nice.
And pro tip, put that hook right in the middle of the leech. When I was little, everybody, like my parents and stuff, they're always like,
Put
you
it
want
through
to
the
put the
sucker
hook
thing.
right through the sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, man, put it right through the middle and it swims way more lively and stuff. It's
Mm,
like, and then it just kind of like hovers in place.
nice.
And those walleyes can't handle that shit. And there's different sizes too. So there's like jumbos and little
Mhm,
guys, because you can get little guys to fish for panfish and stuff. So there's just like small, medium,
sure,
large, jumbo. So there's
sure.
all sizes of leeches. But as far as buying minnows,
Yeah.
you can go into a bait shop, and a lot of times you can just go over buy the minnows and stuff, and somebody will come and ask if you need any help.
Mhm,
Or like Shields, you just have to find an associate and they'll find somebody for you, because Shields isn't
mm,
like the gas station bait where there's bait on the second floor of ours,
mhm,
where they have minnows.
mhm,
Fleet Farm doesn't have minnows.
mm.
Fleet Farm just has, a cooler or whatever. But
Yeah.
one tip at a gas station for me is I don't wait over by the minnow bucket, because a lot of times they're busy doing other stuff. I go up
Oh,
to the register,
right,
and
right,
when they look at me, just like somebody would buy cigarettes or whatever, I
right.
just go, take 2 scoops of minnows, please, ring them up or whatever, and then I pay for it, and then I go wait, because
Ah,
they know
right,
I bought that shit, instead of just waiting. Like I already paid.
right.
Come get my minnows.
Right, right. Yeah, that's exactly the sort of stuff that I wanted to get into because, like, I had etiquette down and because, like, how do you handle yourself in a bait shop? And I think we really covered that. And that right there is like the nail in the coffin to just like finish off this
Yeah.
topic is just like go
Oh,
up and let them know.
yes. Let me give you one more real quick, because for some reason I've had this happen 2 times this ice fishing season, and I've never had to do it before. But they've told me to go get my own bait.
Okay.
So if you're getting your
Okay.
own bait, there's a big net. All of this is almost the same everywhere you go. There's
Mm-hmm.
a big net, and you take that big net and you go down and you get a bunch of fish and you just scoop it up and you like lift it up and you set the edge of the net on the one side so it doesn't fall in, you know? And it's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
sitting there hesitating. And then
So it's like
there's
hovering
like a
over
little,
the tank, right? Like you just lifted it
yes.
all out and now the net is sitting up above the water.
Yep.
That is the tank of fish that you just scooped. Sure.
Yeah. Yep. And then there's almost always it's like a yellow or an orange scoop, and it is a little scoop. And what they do is they scoop the minnows with that, and that
Mm.
is what a scoop is. It is one scoop of this orange. It's like almost it's like
Right.
a cup is what
Yeah.
it measures out to be.
Oh yeah.
And
Good
you just
point.
take that and you put it in. That's a scoop.
Yeah.
So if you want to scoop of minnows and they tell you to go do it yourself, lift that thing up, grab the little scoop, take that, boom, you got yourself a scoop. If nobody's
Right.
looking, and you have a couple of extra little minnows. It's like, what are you doing? You had me scoop my own stuff. Like, what were you expecting?
What'd you expect? I took a couple extras.
Yep. Or if the story, story for next time, you go in there and scoop, and then you gotta weed through all the weird shit that he has in his tank.
Right. And that we will save that for our ice fishing in review because you did hit the ice a lot more, I feel like, or like you at least have stories about the ice and hopefully more to come because the ice has not thawed out, which is how we, started this. Is just like, eh, and we said it last year too, is just like, hey, just because it's March, don't think ice fishing is done up here in the north. It's not. It's not
Oh
done.
yeah.
It's not done, guys.
Uh-uh.
Stop freaking out about the spring. There's still
Yeah, it's
time. There's still time to get on
we
the
just
ice. Just
it
be
all
safe. Just be
depends on
fucking safe.
yes, be safe because it all depends on the temperature. Because like I was saying, there was 28 inches the other day, but the edge is what melts first.
Right.
If
Right.
there's a warm day and there's like hot sun and stuff, because the sun is hotter, it will melt around the edges of the lake, and then you'll just have thick ice in the middle, but around the edges it's melted and stuff. So that's
Right.
why the permanents have to be off, because your wheelhouses can't be getting pulled in and out when that ice is like
When there's literally
ready to break on
2.5
the
inches of
edges.
water sitting on the edge of the ice.
Yep. So be careful. Yep. But you can definitely, I'm sure we'll be fishing well into April.
Yeah. The ice is thick this year.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yep. With the ice
Awesome.
being thick, as long as we can get onto the ice,
Right.
we can fish the ice.
Right.
It's just a matter of like when does that gap between shore and ice get too much?
Too big.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you're out there floating. That's when
Right.
you get into the danger zone.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Tim, for taking us on a journey through the bait shop. That was, I mean, for me, super, super informative. Great. I hope the listeners feel that way. But now we got to do what we do on the Real AF TV podcast, and that is switch over to the random take. We are going to talk about traveling for events. And I'm not talking about your cousin's wedding. That's not the kind of traveling I'm talking about.
Right.
Bigger shit. That shit don't count.
Yep.
All right, let's hit the break.
Before quick, before we leave, if anybody has any other questions about, like what they should do when they go in, hit us up. I'm happy to answer any questions, like if there's something that I'm missing, I have answers. I just might not have the questions in my head right now. And if you got questions, let us know. I'll answer them.
Good fucking point, Tim. Yeah, just remember, just look us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's Real AFTV, real like fishing real shit. Go to realaf.tv/contact. It'll email us. Like we both have that email. We will check it. We do check it. And like you're more, I mean, it would be super cool for you to get a DM on Instagram of somebody in a bait shop, right? And you can just be like, yeah, man, just do this. Like, go conduct yourself like this and like have a good day. Enjoy. Hey, hit me back up when the day's over. Tell me how it went. Cause like you honestly would be interested, right? I mean, I'm not making this up.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to answer any question anytime. I'm on the lake right now. What color should I use? Like
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
I'll tell you, or I'll tell you. I need more information. Let's talk.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But that's that. Yeah, great point, Tim. Just Real AF TV. Just look up Real AF, Real like Fish and Reel, and find us on social media. And like Tim's got tips because we just may not have thought about it. And if you have more, leave it in the comments on YouTube too. We'll do this again. I'm more than happy to like revisit a topic. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's no sweat off my back. I'm cool with it. So
Yo,
great point,
I don't
Tim.
know what.
Let's go. Let's go ahead and get into that random take here in the second half, where we're going to talk about traveling for bigger events.
Yes.
Break time.
Break.
Welcome back to the Real AF TV podcast show about fishing random takes from Atlanta 10,000 lakes. Tim, I just remembered I have a quick story about bait shops that I have to tell, and I'm going to tell it in the random take. Fuck it. We're a fishing podcast after all.
Let's do it.
But in this random take, we are, in case you're listening on a Friday on our off week, which by the way, the Real AF TV podcast is every other week, Monday drop full podcast. And then on our off week on Wednesdays, you will get the fishing topic split out by itself over there on YouTube. And on Fridays over there on YouTube, you will get the random take split out by itself. But I have to tell this before we get into the traveling for a big event situation that we're going to talk about. I have to tell this bait shop, local bait shop. This is a third-party story. I'm not going to give any names or anything like that, but trust me, this is a very close source. I believe everything. And I believe this is why local shops are the dope shit. So he goes to the local shop fairly regularly. Dad does. Dad goes to the local shop fairly regularly, right?
Sure. Yep.
Daughter likes to go fishing with him. Daughter saves up her own money to go buy fishing lures. She goes to the shop. She buys the lures. They go fishing a couple weeks later.
All right.
Bad day fishing. They don't get any fish. She thinks, and we're talking like 5 years to 8 years old, right? We're talking like little kid here. So they have a bad day fishing. They don't bring home any fish. And she is adamant that the next time they go back to the bait shop, she's returning those lures because they don't work. So she's going to bring them back as defective product. Yeah. So she's going to bring them back as defective product. And dad and mom are like, no. Like, that's how fishing works sometimes, like you just don't, it's not every time. It's, it's a process. It happens. They're not defective. It's okay. You don't have to bring them back. Well, next time dad goes to the bait shop, he, don't bring those lures with. It's fine. We'll bring them out on the water again. She sneaks them in, walks up to the guy at the counter and says, I would like to return these. They don't work. He just goes, all right, I will return them. And he just returns them. Dad's been fishing for 20, 30 years since then. Goes to that shop every time just because of that good taste, like that good taste of customer service. You know what I mean?
Like, right. Yep. That's awesome too.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you say no to that?
I know, right?
I guess there are jerks out there that would just be like, all sales are final, but like, I just, I take my losses, or probably not even losses.
Sure.
Probably decent lures where you're just like, I could use a couple of these. Okay. Sure. I get it. I'd probably try to talk some sense into her first. Not trying to be like, no, I don't want to lose a sale, but just to be like, are you sure you want to return these? Because they're probably going to work eventually. Like if they were good lures, like I don't sell garbage, if it's my shop.
Right. Sure.
I don't have trash in here. These will catch fish if you use them in the right situation.
Yep.
But if you want to return them, I'll definitely take them back from you. But I think you should give them another shot. That's what I would have done.
Sure.
I think you should give them another shot. Next time you're out there, try them again, and if they don't work that time, then bring them back.
Right. Yeah, for
You know,
sure. Yep. I just thought it was such a
but
great story. Like it's just such a good story that I just
dude, that is a great story. Yeah,
like
like,
shout out to local shops for that one
oh
because that's
man,
the
I
only
would.
place that's gonna happen.
Oh right, yeah, you try that at a Walmart. I mean, maybe they're taking back at a Walmart. Some of those big shot or big
They'll just take
box stores
anything,
have
right?
like
Yeah.
they have some pretty lax policies where they're just like, you don't even have a box, and they're like, but I want to return it. And they're like, well, okay,
Okay.
whatever.
We don't even have this in the system. I'll take it. Yeah, I know what you mean. But
I'll take it.
yeah.
But yeah, that's super. That's super cool. I mean, they're kids. They're
I
funny.
know.
How do
I know.
you know?
It's great.
There's so many good stories to that. When you have good-hearted people with kids, they come up and they say some silly shit, and you just got to be like, "All right, my
Right.
bad. I'm sorry I sold you this." Oh,
Yep.
dang it.
Yep. I know.
Yeah.
So good. So good. So,
Yeah.
okay, being March, there's a lot to talk about in March, specifically about travel because, of course, there's spring break and all this other shit. And again,
Yep.
I want to keep it. I want to keep it about events. If we spin off, because that's what we do, because we talk a lot.
Mm.
That sounded so good. But if we, if we spin off, whatever, that's cool. But there's a lot to talk about in March. Obviously, I have to say it specifically. This drops afterwards, but that's not the point. The Bassmaster Classic, like that happens in March, and that's an
Yep.
event, and that's what I want to kick it off with. That not only us being fishing podcast, but because that's the sort of like event that I'm talking about, right? It's not just that like one-off thing like, oh, Krispy Kreme is making white chocolate donuts in New
Right.
Orleans, and you're like, oh, I'm going to New Orleans because there's only a week long. You're like, fuck that. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right, but even still, like if that's what you're doing, let us hear about that too.
Yeah, for sure, because that would be dope if you're just traveling around the country getting Krispy Kreme donuts because they're
Yep.
like localized 1 week release. That'd be sick.
Right.
But that's not what I'm trying to talk about here.
Yeah. I'd love to hear that story from anybody's aspect.
For
Just
real.
be like you're a boss at you're a boss at an establishment, and my employee had to take off because of a limited edition Krispy Kreme in Nolans. Just like, really? Interesting.
Okay. Sweet.
Whatever.
But yeah,
man.
I mean, that's exactly it, is because like me and you work full-time jobs, get a limited amount of vacation days. Lately, it's been really fucking rough with everything that's going on in the world, because you're just like burning up these vacation days. So it's making it even harder. So just thinking about it on a broader scope, but also keeping it to the now, and what the fuck is going on. Like, dude, honestly, since we started this podcast, I've been into into the Bassmasters and stuff like that. I've been watching it and trying to keep up with fishing more in general. And it would be accurate to say like the Bassmaster Classic is the Super Bowl of like fishing, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I was like, fuck, man, it would be cool. Now, we would obviously come back and talk about it on the podcast, but we wouldn't be covering it like journalism. We're more of a free form podcast than that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it would be
we just
so
be talking about
sick
like what
to
we
do.
saw and how how it's got set up and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, because going down there, I don't know if things are getting back to normal from like after COVID and stuff, but they used to have like it was like a stadium event.
Jesus.
When it's like time for weigh-ins and stuff, your top fisherman is coming in, getting pulled in on his boat, and he's going up to the main stage, and he's bringing in his weight, and he's like, "Yeah, it's in my motherfucking bass."
Holy shit!
So
they would drive their trucks and their boats into a stadium.
Nah, somebody else would drive their truck, and they'd be in their boat, like in their boat, like
right. Okay, I've seen wide shots of this. It didn't sink in. It's It didn't sink in until you're saying this now, and I'm going, oh, that's what I was watching, because it was all like highlight reel
Yeah.
shit, because that's not how. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be so sick to go to, dude. I would travel for that
It would be
event.
awesome.
That
Yeah.
would be
And
dope.
with like-minded people, and they're like waiting, and you're seeing the best, and you're seeing them hold up these monsters, and they're trying to get the weights, and you're waiting, and they're just like, he needs 14.2 to go into the lead. And then all of a sudden they're just like 14.5, and everybody in the stadium's like, oh God, I can't believe 14.5, man.
Right. It'd
Yeah,
be
this
sick,
is
dude.
yeah. It would be super cool to go to Bassmasters like that. There's so many things I would love to go to that like I'm not a fan of in real life, but just would be like stellar to go to any of the different stuff. Like
Yeah.
a NASCAR race. Like
Oh fuck, dude! I didn't. Yeah, I never had that one down. Never was in my wheelhouse.
I've
But like,
I've never even like thought about watching it on TV. Like I
right,
mean, like one of those things where they're like, it's the Indy 500, and they're like, they're on lap 498, and I'm like, well, whatever. I'll watch the last two laps.
right,
see if some drama happens here.
right.
But no, like the just being at the races, or like
Yeah,
in the pit in the middle would be so dope. Like I
yeah,
heard that's
dude.
just like a party.
Right,
Like you're
that would
just
be
at a party,
sick. Like the
and there's a
Daytona
race going
500,
around without
like
you.
the
Yeah.
infield of the Daytona 500. I'm in, dude.
Yes.
I do it.
Yes.
I do
Yes.
it.
The infield. Yeah. That
I'll
would be
just say it.
so dope.
I'm not a NASCAR fan. Not even the slightest.
Yeah.
I used to play the
Me
games.
neither.
Just not a NASCAR fan. Whatever. Like
No.
fishing crowd tends to be NASCAR fan. So what, dude? It doesn't mean that we wouldn't get
No,
along. It
nothing
doesn't
wrong.
mean you can't listen to the podcast. I
Yeah.
would 100% go to the infield of the Daytona 500, man. That would be so dope.
For sure. I would love to do that. Yeah. And then I'd just be like, I don't even know who any of the drivers are.
Right.
I'd be like, not to be sexist or whatever. I'd be like some of the girls do it. Would just be like, yeah, number 47. And they're just like, you like 47? I like his car is orange.
Right.
Dude,
Yep.
I like the way his car looks.
Yep. For real. I just I don't know. I like that GoDaddy car. It's real green. It's cool.
It's a good looking car, man.
For real. Yep. Just out there just cheering for the car that you like the look on the best, because you don't have any idea who it is, but you're still there just enjoying and non-ironically. Like it wouldn't be just be like, oh, I'm here to make fun of it, or I hear him like, look at me, I'm at a NASCAR event. How funny is that? It's like, no, I'm literally here to enjoy this fucking what is happening.
Legit, yeah. I'm
just because I don't know what's going on.
Might piss some people off. You're a bandwagon fan,
right?
No,
right.
I came here to have fun, and I decided to choose one of these cars because I'm not
right. Because you got to pick one. You're here.
Everybody's. Yeah, he's the best. That's why his car looks so good. Well, that's why I'm choosing him, is because his car looks good.
Right.
I guess when you're good, you get the coolest looking car, and I'm rooting for the cool car. I don't know who the driver is. I can't see him.
No idea who that is. Right. Can't see him from the infield anyway. Give me another beer. God damn it.
Right. Just by the end of the race, you're just watching the different color blurs. Like green's getting hard to look at, man. It's hard to see. I'm switching teams here. I want the blue. I can see the blue pretty good.
Right. I'm gonna go with that darker blue color. It's less hard on my eyes at this point.
Right.
Oh fuck. Yeah, man, that's a really good one. I never even thought about it, because that brings me to the Indy 500. I would totally do the Indy. I did a book report in middle school, maybe even elementary school, Mario Andretti, of course. Not the it's me. Not that Mario.
Right. Mario. Oh.
Mario. Hey. Shit, you have a Mario shirt on too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mario Andretti, I did it. What?
I said, didn't even try that.
Oh yeah, I know. We just showed up. This is just who we are. So yeah, I would totally love the Indy. I mean, it's not, the Indy 500, Daytona 500, different cars, whatever, same circle. And whatever,
Yeah,
race fans, don't at me on that. Same circle, fucking different cars. But like
I think
it
Indy would be
was
cooler.
it was cool. I think Indy would be way cooler because they're faster and more aerodynamic, and there's a lot more that goes into it.
I think they
Anyways,
sound cooler. Yeah.
the just to go to Indy, to be on the infield of Indy would be super cool to me, knowing the like history behind that. They call it the Brickyard. They still have some of the original brick on the start and finish line. Like
Okay.
I just
Sweet.
think like there would be that extra historical element to me because
Mm-hmm.
I sort of did the research and it's still I still remember it, which is super dope
Sure.
to me. So like I'd have an
Yeah.
extra layer to it, I guess.
Yeah, that would be super cool, man. Yeah. That and like so many other uh sporting events. I would love
Yeah.
to travel to like any other area to like it'd be cool to be the away team, you know?
Oh.
Especially being the
Oh.
Timberwolves cuz nobody's going to give you shit. Like I feel like that's one where we can get away with it.
Yeah.
I could be a Timberwolves fan
Yeah.
anywhere
Yeah.
and just be like, "Go Wolves." And people would be like, "What? You like the Timberwolves?" They'd be like, "Yeah, from Minnesota." They'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool." You
I
know? But like a
mhm.
Philadelphia
Right.
fans are like going to the different places and they're just like, "Go 76ers." Or probably they just say, "Go Sixers." "Go Sixers."
Right.
And everybody's just like, "Fuck you, get off our town, Philly."
Right, right, right. And that's actually that's a really good point. I mean, you're bringing up something I didn't think about again, and that is I've always thought it would be really cool to go to for me specifically a Doomtree show in a different city because they sell out First Ave here,
Mm,
and I would love to go to like a Doomtree show that didn't even sell out at all, but it's got a decent
yeah.
crowd in like Denver or something like that. Like music,
Mm-hmm.
to even take it to a different like Lollapalooza. We have local music acts that have played Lollapalooza, and it's like to go to
Sure.
Chicago and be the away team, dude. Yeah, for sure. I've thought about that, which is such a that's not even an event in the grand scheme of what I was talking about, but it for you personally, it is an event and that's what makes it sick. So I'm right there with you, dude. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
What a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you could get like I had a friend that kind of hit uh double in Cali
Really?
where they went out and saw um the one I can't remember which day was what, but they went and saw one day where it was the Vikings playing the Chargers,
Nice.
and then the next day they watched the Timberwolves play the Clippers.
No way, dude.
Yeah, yeah. I
That
was
is
just like, oh,
awesome.
dude, I'm so jealous. Like, I would love to set up, like,
Yeah.
that both teams are going to be
Are
in.
going to be in the same area at the same time.
Yeah, and you're just like, I'm
Yeah.
going to see both my teams
Yeah, dude. And
in
again,
the.
not the like bigger event, but like for it's a professional event and because that's not an Indy 500 moment, but for you or
Right.
like for your friend personally, that's kind of an Indy
Yeah.
500 moment, right?
Right. For sure. Yeah. Like those.
So sick.
Those are my teams to be able to see both in an away situation in a different state. And I've never been to California, so that'd be cool too.
Right. Of
So like
course.
anything going to California would just be dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, another like this is I don't know if this really counts, but so I think I've referenced them here before, but
Mhm.
Bad Magic Productions.
Okay.
So
Yep.
that is Dan Cummins. He's a stand-up comic.
Yep.
He's got 3 podcasts and they're
Oh
all
Jesus.
under the same umbrella. There's Time Suck, which is just him
Yep.
doing all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
There's Is We Dumb,
Yep.
which is him and the Reverend Dr. Joe Paisley.
Is he
And
really a reverend?
no,
And a
I
doctor?
don't think
He's
he's a
not,
doctor
right?
either. Nope.
Yeah.
No,
He's like a metal singer
he
or something like that, or used to be a metal singer or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think he did used to do metal, and then he was like on the radio, and now he doesn't like do any of that stuff. But those two guys are super funny, and that one's just like a super funny podcast that they
Mhm.
always start off with like a would you rather, just kind of thing, and that's how they get it kicked off, and then it's just a fun stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
They talk about them being dumb and everything, whatever. And
They just talk
then
about dumb shit from the internet. And then is this the scary
yeah.
one? Is this where he does the
Yeah,
scary shit
and then
with
the
his
other
wife?
one's a scary one. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Scared to death with his wife.
Yeah.
So
So why the
under
production
that
company in general? Like, because they got 3 podcasts, but they have Bad Magic in general. So what's that?
Bad Magic is what they just call like their production company. It's all
Right.
Bad Magic
Okay.
Production.
Okay.
Everything's under the same umbrella. So all three of those shows, I don't know if they're doing a time suck live, but they're doing the other two live
Sweet.
in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where they live, with what they are calling the Wet Hot Bad Magic summer camp. So they are having an actual like an adult summer camp where they're
Get
renting out
out,
like a
dude.
Boy Scout. Yeah, they're renting out a Boy Scout like place,
No
and they're gonna
way.
have like swimming, and there's gonna be like food vendors and like
No
different stuff that
way,
you would do
dude.
at a summer camp. But then they're
Like
gonna
the
have
blob is gonna be there.
yeah, dude,
Just
they're
a
gonna
bunch of
do
drunk
stuff like
30 and
that.
40-year-olds fucking doing the
Yes,
blob.
it's a summer camp for adults, and they're gonna have a live Is We Dumb for sure. And then when it gets to night, because it's like a summer camp thing, they're gonna have live Scared to Death because it's like here's
Get
our live ghost
Oh
stories.
my god.
Yeah, dude, I want to go to that so
Dude,
bad.
that's an event. That is an event to travel
Yes,
for. That is so sick, dude.
yeah. So
Oh my god, that would be
if
so
you
much
that
fun.
sounds fun to you, maybe like check out their podcasts and get into that stuff. Because if you just go to summer camp, you're gonna feel awkward if you don't get all the references. Because there's gonna be a lot of references thrown around, and you're not gonna understand anything. You're
Sure,
just gonna be
sure, the
walking
inside
around, and all of a
jokes of
sudden,
the
yeah,
yeah.
all of a sudden you'll just hear somebody go peanut butter. That's how they do it in showbiz, and you're just gonna be like, "What the fuck was that?"
What
And
the
just be like,
fuck?
You gotta go watch a show, man. You gotta go
You
listen
gotta
to
get
it."
it. You gotta get in. You gotta get in there.
Right.
Oh my god, dude, that is so sweet. I dabble in them because of you, and so
Okay.
I know I know what you're talking about. Obviously, I called the third one right. But
Yeah.
what a fucking perfect scenario they have thought of, and
Yeah, dude.
like, oh my god, good for them. Good on Bad Magic and their creative team for coming up with that idea.
Yes,
It's so
for
perfect. Like
sure.
that is something people will travel for and just
Mhm.
talk about. So like they're gonna talk about that for years. It's gonna be so sick.
Yes, yep, and I think they're trying to make it like an annual thing. I think they wanted to do it last year, but COVID got in the way, and now
Mhm,
they're just
mhm.
like, "Here we go.
Right.
Let's do this thing."
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
So, yeah,
So
it
sweet.
sounds so dope to just be like summer camp in general is cool. But then a summer camp with like-minded people,
Right.
just like
Yep. Mhm.
you're
Like
gonna
we're
be
all here
going to
for the
some
one thing.
place.
We all know why we're here. Like you already have a
Right,
talking point. So like there's no social awkwardness because we're all here with a talking point.
right. Yeah, and everybody's on the same page, like
Yep.
we're all you know that none of us are easily offended. You know, if you listen to any of their stuff, you know,
Right.
like
Yep. Yep.
right off the bat, we're not going into like people that are just be like, I don't like the swear words. Like you came to the wrong fucking place.
Right, right.
You know, so yeah, it's just that sounds super cool. So that's one that I thought of, you know,
Right.
that's a little bit outside the box besides everybody's, you know, the the standard stuff, you know, like going to the
Yeah.
Super Bowl would be dope, but like who's got the money for that, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Well, and the big thing, like the again back to the March thing, is Mardi Gras. Like Mardi Gras
Oh
goes on
yeah.
in March, and it's like, yeah. So, have you ever thought about traveling for Mardi Gras, going to Mardi Gras, or anything like that? I've been to New Orleans before. It's dope, but I'll tell you this right now: I've never really thought about going to Mardi Gras.
I've never really thought about going to Mardi Gras either because like I enjoy the colors and like the idea of it is cool, but
Yeah, I agree,
I don't know.
but I don't know if I want to be in it. I don't know if I want to be there, like
No.
in it. Like it's too much.
I've
I think.
yeah, like I mean, you may be able to speak to this, but like I've heard that New Orleans can kind of be a shit show sometimes, and then they're
Mhm.
just like, we'd like to turn this shit show up to 11. And it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to be part of that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong there. I can't say that that is anything because we mostly went out during the day. We're day walkers, I guess, for the most part. Um, when we went out, but you're 100% right, because you get out early enough to go like get an early lunch. You can smell that last night happened. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I get you.
And
That's what I've heard about
and that
Gnarly.
was just like on a Tuesday in October.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's
Y'all get
part
a
of it.
little etouffee?
So
Just like,
yeah, and you know, that made me think of like international stuff too, like Carnival, which is, seems to have a lot in relation with it. And I think,
yeah, I think
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was like almost the same shit. It looks the
It
same.
looks really similar.
That's
Like
for sure.
Carnival
I
just
guess
seems
I've
like
never really
a bigger, bigger in the sense of like
yeah,
the floats are bigger, and the costumes are bigger, but they all seem sort of the same style, and that's our outside perspective, right? Like we're not
right.
Brazilian and we're not
That's what's going
Louisianan. Nin,
that's
nin.
what's going on in Rio, right? Like in the movie?
Oh
You seen
yeah,
Rio?
yeah. In the movie Rio, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're
Carnival,
dancing around. Yeah, they got way big floats, but
yeah, and
yeah, maybe
costumes,
that's just
like
like
crazy heavy
that's probably
costumes right
yeah,
here.
yeah. I think that is like New Orleans just isn't the same size as city. So you have Mardi Gras, but it's not quite the same because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Carnival is almost like the Thanksgiving Day parade, where it's just
Right.
a massive city. It's
Yep.
just way bigger.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, just listened to a podcast about the Thanksgiving Day parade today, because I'm
Really?
behind on that podcast, and I've been shuffling between the backlog and the current ones, and that was actually one that came up because the uh, the person who was talking about it was like, that the day before the parade, it's kind of like a loosey goosey inflation day where you can just kind of walk around and watch them be blown up, and it's super cool if you have kids. And I was like, whoa, yeah, I never thought about that, but how sick would that be, like to bring your kids to watch like
Yeah,
a giant Snoopy being blown up?
for real. Plus, I really like the sound of that. Like that should be the day everybody's excited to go to. Kids, wake up! It's loosey goosey inflation day.
That's the name of it, loosey goosey inflation day.
It's gonna be wild.
it's gonna be it's gonna be wacky whaling, inflatable arm flailing tube man day.
They're gonna go from like flat to like it's gonna be woo.
Oh, because
Oh, dude! Speaking of New York too,
oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
um, my 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 wife, my wife would love to go to just ironically, like I'm about to talk about her and she comes walking around the corner. What the fuck?
What?
But
God,
my wife would love to go to the New Year's in New York
I
City.
had that on my list of things to talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
Yep.
I'm surprised because your
And,
wife's not like a
and
huge partier,
here
so I'm
here
surprised to hear
live, I'd like to say surprise, we're not gonna go.
that.
I
Talking to
huh?
her.
You will she said she will wear an adult diaper. As, have you heard about that? That's what they actually say, that like once you get down there, like you can't leave because you will lose your spot. So a lot of people
Right.
legitimately go down there early and wear adult diapers and then
And
just
here
like
on the
shit themselves.
podcast, your wife just said, we're going and I'm putting on a diaper."
My wife said I am comfortable in sitting in my own feces for a chance to be part of Ryan and Seacrest's. Oh, she'll shit on the street and pee herself. She's not gonna sit in her own poop.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
My
legit.
mistake. Yeah, she's not an animal. She's a classy lady. Lady in the streets. But then the lady also in the sheets. Come on, lady. Sorry, I'm making fun of her now. But yes, no, definitely like a dream of hers to go down there and see the
Nice.
big Christmas tree and
Oh
all
yeah,
that
because
good
you could do
jazz.
that still before New Year's Eve. It's still up, so you could do both.
Oh yeah, she wants to do the whole thing. Just
Well,
like put it but a whole like be down there for the whole thing, like go down there for Christmas to New Year's.
Oh, from
What?
yeah.
Thanksgiving?
Macy's Day Parade.
Yeah,
Oh,
we already
yeah.
talked about the parade. You weren't here for that.
But I want to be there for all of
This is a podcast that doesn't involve you. What are you doing?
We can hear her though. We can hear her. It's perfect.
I know.
it. Edit this out.
No. Yeah, we could edit it out, but we're not gonna. It's staying in.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is good.
You're the off-camera star of this podcast. But yeah, we're not going there from Thanksgiving to New Year's.
That's a long time.
If you win the lottery, we'll do it,
That-
which is never gonna happen because she's never bought a ticket.
Wow, that's cool though. I agree. I'd like to see the parade, but I just never thought about going down and seeing like the balloons inflated and stuff like that. So like to think about being
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's a whole event down there from literally from Thanksgiving Day all the way through New Year's Eve. Like it's like a party in New York.
Yeah,
Wow.
she'd be so pumped to do that, and I
Nice.
would say like let's do it, but like New York is expensive.
I know, that's what I was gonna say. Is like that'd be over a month in New York. I mean, that's like 3 months of mortgage out here.
Yeah. Also, like being from Minnesota, like you hear everybody talk about the Minnesota nice, and then
Yeah.
you hear about like how bad New York can be sometimes.
Right.
I don't know. We might get down there and like the idea of it's good until like 2 weeks in, we're not to Christmas yet, and just can't take it anymore.
You're like, to fucking fly home. I can't take it anymore.
Hey, welcome to New York.
Yep.
Just
I'm walking in. And you're like,
we've been mugged and nobody says hi to anybody.
right.
You're just like, it's the holiday season. They're just like, yeah, I didn't spit on your shoes.
You're
What
welcome.
are you looking for? You're welcome.
That's crazy.
Most of the people, they buy a slice of pizza and I slap it in their face. I let you eat yours.
Hey,
and you're just like,
being a nice guy.
This is the holiday season here. Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, I didn't know that about your wife. I didn't know that she was like that into that. She would like to do that. That's cool though.
Oh,
because those are totally the
yes.
events that I'm talking about. Is like, would you? You're like, yeah, if we had the
Yep.
money, I guess we'd have
Right.
to.
Yep. I think part of it's because Hallmark movies have made it like glamorized it. Then we're gonna get there and it's gonna be like you just see like the surface of it and you're just like, it's so beautiful. And then there's like homeless people like screaming shit next to you. You're like, oh Jesus. This is not
or an
how I
angry
pictured
pizza guy
this.
just throwing the pizza at you. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Right. The shit the Hallmark doesn't show you.
Right. You got the wet bandits are out there.
Oh, that's so good. So the like other things that I wanted to ask you about is because we talked about a little bit in our last episode about the sports icon thing with the do you want
So sorry.
should
She just said she just had to go good night, Dream Crusher. Sorry. Good night. I didn't crush your dreams. I just said start playing the lottery.
I just said
Yeah, we were just talking about some homeless people. Navy boys.
I have like Navy men stuff up there.
Oh, Navy men. I don't know. She said she said she'll have to kiss a stranger. And then she said maybe one of those Navy boys. And I was like, Navy boys? And then she said seamen. Started laughing. Oh man. That was a pretty good joke. Maybe I'll bring you to one of them. We're not staying there for the whole
thing. Just facts. We're not staying there for a month.
Facts. Huh?
Fishing.
What about fishing?
So podcast.
Yeah, it's a fishing podcast. This is a random take.
Random minutes.
You just said fishing.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
This thing.
She must be a frequent listener. She must be the one.
Yeah, you're a frequent listener. You know what it's about. Fishing.
Oh,
Oh.
this is so good. I love it.
She's saying that you have a number one fan. She's laughing pretty hard, dude. Can't breathe.
we can hear enough.
I look like I'm stoned.
Yeah.
Well, I've been drinking tequila a little bit. I put it in my body armor. Been drinking tequila. 'cause
I
know something
regularly
about it.
carry around tequila in my body armor too.
No, it's not new. Yeah. While we're getting here, getting
I'm over here just
another
stuffing
new
bottles
bottle?
in my flak vest.
Oh yes.
Okay. So last episode 39, we talked about like the extreme. We talked about the sports icons and the extreme sports and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of crazy. Like that comment came out, and I was
Yep.
just like, oh yeah, like Jackass Forever just came out, and Johnny
Yes.
Knoxville's been talking a lot about his infatuation with bulls, and that's the one event that I put down on my list of things to talk about is like Spain's running with the bulls.
Oh yeah, running
Spain's
to the bulls
cool,
would be
good food. Like, would you travel there for the running of the bulls? Would you go there to participate in the running of the bulls? Right now, right now, today, or whenever it is this year.
Nah, I'm not in good enough shape.
Yeah, I wouldn't fucking do it either, dude. I think there's too much on the line. Like, ask me 10 years ago, I'd have a different answer. I bet you.
Right. That's a good point. Having a kid, it's like a different story. If it was just because, because it's not just having a kid, it's being able to provide for the family.
Sure.
If I were to get injured, I would I think dying is pretty low odds, even though it's
for sure. Yeah.
And I think I'd be able to I don't know. I think I'd be one of those guys that'd try to be tough. And then as soon as the running of the bulls start, I'd be the one that's just flying by everybody.
Or clinging to the fence immediately, just just latching on, letting the bulls run by.
Fence immediately, I'd just be flying past everybody else, just juking dudes,
knocking people down to get them out of the way.
Just stiff arming people. I'd make it through the course safely, but it wouldn't immediately run to the fence because I wouldn't be one of those guys that's kind of tempting stuff until the bull picks up speed. And then I got to jump the fence.
Right.
I'd just be hauling ass.
Right.
As soon as I'd just be kind of standing there anxiously. And as soon as they open the gates, and then just going, make it all to the stadium and run into the stadium and just be oh,
right.
Done it.
Right. It would the feeling, because I know that you have that, where that that level of achievement would just give you the fucking highest to high. You would feel fucking awesome if you did that. If you got to the stadium and you jumped to safety and you were fucking did it. You would feel awesome.
Right. And I'm a pretty big dude too. So I'm not too nervous of getting really hurt from a certain size of bull, if there was a Ferdinand looking motherfucker in that stadium, once we were in the stadium, for sure I'm not trying anything.
Right.
But if one comes in and it doesn't have gnarly looking horns, or kind of out to the side, and I'm not
instead of forward
of getting hit, I might try juking one if I was in the
for
stadium.
Personal achievement.
I might be just because I'm pretty confident in my ability to juke something.
Right.
So if I watch somebody else juke it and it falls for it, and I'm okay, this bull will bite.
Right.
I can I can get him. I might try but it really depends on the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of got to see somebody else do it probably too before I
The
do it. Like I'm not
calculated
just
risk factor, right?
right,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. Like
yeah,
it's
for
just be
sure,
like,
for
okay,
sure.
he got away with it. This bull seems a little bit slow. The horns don't look like they would jab me even if I
Yeah,
screw up too bad.
right.
Like if I take a bull's head to the chest, I'm gonna be okay.
Mhm, mhm.
But if it's a fucking spike coming right at me and he decides to lift up and I get caught under the chin, I'm
Right,
not playing those odds at
right.
all. Like I don't care if he looks like he's stupid and other people juke him. I'm not messing with that bull.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. And just like you said, the like provider thing now is like, yeah, ask me 10 years ago, ask me 15 years ago, I probably have a different answer for you. Not only was I younger and in better shape, but the fact that like you the sense of achievement you would get out of it would still be awesome and so much fun to try to do. And it would be great, but to think about the fact that like, well, got to take a week of vacation and then I'm going to go do this thing that'll probably really fuck me up. And like, yeah, if I break a leg, how am I going to be able to do my job when I get back? Probably not. I drive a clutch. Like, like for me, I'd try to stiff arm myself up and out of the way, fucking break a wrist.
Right.
It's like, how do I type now? Like my fucking arm is
Yep.
in a cast from fingertips to shoulder. It's like, I can't work like
Yeah.
that.
Dude, that's one thing that like I got a little bit more not serious like I was gonna ever try to be, like pro or anything, but I got more serious about snowboarding like when I got uh like season pass and stuff
Yeah, for sure.
later in life when
Yeah.
I already had like a house and stuff
Yeah.
and I knew that I needed to like keep making payments because of the things I had.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what stopped me from like trying to hit rails and stuff.
Sure. Sure.
Because I'm like, if I eat shit and break my arm, like I do physical labor for a living. And it was a different
Right.
job back
Right.
then, but like pretty much everything that I've ever done has been like physical labor. And I'm like, if I break anything,
Right.
I am fucked.
Like, fuck.
Like, what do I
Like,
do
fuck,
for a
what do
living?
you do? Right.
So like I can
Right.
go
I know.
snowboarding and stuff, but I'm not trying to do any of like the super gnarly stuff because I could get hurt
Yeah.
bad. Like,
Right.
Again, calculated risk. There's
Yeah.
some stuff
For
that
sure.
I'll try, but
But at the same time, it's like I mean, me, I don't want to go to the running of the bulls if I'm not going to be in it. I just don't get any enjoyment out of watching it. 'Cause I've seen it.
yeah,
I've watched it on TV. I've watched people get fucking railed by bulls at running of the bulls. I just don't find any fun without the adrenaline because it's just people getting fucked up by bulls. Who cares? If I was going there
right.
for the adrenaline rush, totally different story.
Yep.
And
Dude, so I just
oh,
go ahead. You had something else to say?
oh no, I was going to switch topics off the bulls, and I feel like you're going to stay on it. I want to.
Oh, not on the Bulls, but because you started talking about Spain, I didn't even think about it till you said Spain. But there's
Oh.
another one that I've always wanted to go to in Spain, and it's called La Tomatina, and it is the world's biggest food fight, bro. You ever see where they throw all the tomatoes?
Yes,
I'd love to
dude.
go to that.
I forgot about that. So I thought about the Indian one and I couldn't look it up where they start throwing like colored powder at everybody. That's somewhere in India.
What?
Oh yeah. And I didn't look it up, so we can't talk
That
about
sounds dope too.
It's super sick. Everybody looks cool.
Sound cool too.
Yeah. But that dude, that's a reason to go to Spain. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. I would partake
World's
in that
biggest
for
food
sure.
fight. Oh yeah, me too. I'm in,
Everybody
dude.
just chucking tomatoes, just like, yeah.
What a good reason
I
to go to
brought
Spain.
my white tea.
Hell yeah, dude.
That sounds like a blast.
Yes, it does. Like it's food. It's rot. In most cases, probably even rotten food, where it's just like it's a tomato and it hits you and just
Right.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be rotten food. I don't know. They gotta. Some of them for sure. It seems like an awful lot of tomatoes to have everybody throw. If they're, like,
Okay,
brand new
you make a
ripe.
good point. But how bad
Like,
can a
you just
tomato
pick 'em.
really hurt? Like it's a crowd of people. How far could it come from even, right? It's not like they're throwing
Yeah,
it
you
30
probably get
feet full
excited when you
speed.
get hit by the rotten one. Just you're like, oh, good. That one wasn't fresh.
I'd still do it,
Yeah.
dude. Sounds
Oh,
awesome.
for sure,
I
dude. I don't
totally
even
forgot
care.
about
Like
that
if
thing.
they're just like they're all rotten tomatoes. Man, let's do it. Just keep my mouth shut.
Right. Yeah, because gross. I don't even want to think about mold and shit. Anyways, yeah. I forgot about that. I've definitely seen a video and footage. It totally slipped my mind because I just thought about the bulls.
Yeah,
I
I wasn't
didn't
thinking
realize
about
it
it
was
either
Spain
until you
either.
said Spain, and then I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's almost like the same streets, dude. I might be wrong, but like
Probably.
the cities, it's probably like very similar. Observed by I don't know how you say that.
Spanish.
It's got one of those little weird things over the end.
Right. Yeah.
Bunol, Valencia, Spain.
Mm.
Bunol, Valencia, Spain.
Sure.
Mm.
Still, how great. I'm so glad that you thought of that because that's seriously, that looks so fun. I've definitely seen video of it. I just didn't put the two together.
Pamplona.
What?
Sorry, they are not the same city. I for sure know Pamplona is the destination of the Bulls.
Of the Bulls. That's
because
like
that's where like the legit stadium is.
Right. Yep.
And that other one is held in a different area altogether.
Sure. But still.
Oh, and those are in August.
They're both in August, huh?
Are they?
No, is that what you just said? They're both in August?
Oh, no, sorry. No.
Oh.
That one is in August. I don't know when the running of the Bulls was.
Yeah.
The tomatoes is in August, which I suppose is when it's time to pick tomatoes.
I was going to say probably harvest time. Yeah, that's probably.
Still sounds fun, but late August if it's hot in Spain.
I'm not sure because they have so much coast. Like you know how it gets when you get towards the coastline of anywhere, really. The ocean helps regulate that temperature. So
looks like in 2022 it's in July. It says 7th through the 14th. That's a whole week?
Holy shit, dude. Wow. Obviously, they can't have the food fight for 7 days. That must be one out of the 7 days.
Oh, no, sorry. I keep not prefacing like what I'm looking into. That's the running of the Bulls.
Oh. Well, they're not running the Bulls 7 days a week either.
That's why I'm like, there must be some sort of a like extra stuff that happens for the first 7 days.
Yeah, which is like kind of the whole. That's what I'm talking about too about traveling for these events. Is just like there's always the big thing that you go for, but obviously you would go for other reasons. But like, would this big event be enough for you to motivate, to go for a week or 5 days or 3 or whatever? You know what I mean? It's not like you're going to fly down there for 3 hours and fly back or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. No, like, I mean, I'm definitely like trying to set up other stuff to go do other stuff.
Right.
But at the same
But the main
time,
motivator, right?
then
That's
you start,
that's the thing.
The main motivator is to go be part of that.
Right.
But some of that stuff, like, it depends on how much I want to do something,
Oh, yeah.
Like going to do that tomato thing is like super dope. Definitely would love to do it.
Yeah.
But going to Spain would be cool too.
Right.
And then it's like, am I going to be able to do anything else?
Right.
Or is it going to be just so damn busy
that you end up with the yeah, for sure. So
this is
nope. Go ahead. Go.
Random. I was just gonna say like an attainable one was I would love to go to the NFL draft when they have like I think this year it's in Vegas. That would be dope.
Yeah.
Because that's not gonna draw a huge crowd.
Right.
So you have like the NFL draft plus you're in Vegas.
Right.
Like, that would be super cool.
Yeah. Like that event draws you to the city, and that's exactly the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Is because it's just the thing that draws you in, and then you do something else, and that is you're right. That's the perfect example because it's mellow in the grand scheme of things. It's not the Super Bowl. but it's definitely a big enough
Right.
event to motivate you to buy tickets, to get the hotel, and
Yeah.
get you to that location. Yeah. No, sick.
Yep.
Sick.
Well, plus the
kick.
location, you know, like
Oh, for sure, for sure.
because it's like you're in Vegas too, you
Right,
know,
right.
where they're just like the NFL draft is going to be held in Cincinnati. I'd be like, mm-hmm.
Mm.
Nah,
Like,
I'll watch it on TV.
right. For sure. So, have you actually ever been motivated enough to have that happen? Like, have you actually done
No,
it?
so like I missed it by a week once on accident when
Yep.
we went to Chicago and
Mm-hmm.
it was in Chicago and it was like they're setting up for it and stuff. So even
Right.
that was cool where I'm just like, "Oh, there's like signs everywhere talking about
Sure.
the NFL
Sure.
draft and I can see where they're set up and like all that's super cool."
Mm-hmm.
But that was like for my 30th birthday.
Yeah.
Just
So
like
you
I
went
didn't know what to
somewhere
do.
motivated by like a personal event, and you were just like, "Well, let's get out of the town," and you just picked a city or whatever, right?
Yeah, it was like a it was
It
just like
wasn't
a
for the draft specifically.
right.
Yeah.
No, it was just like a long weekend. It was like, take off a Friday or whatever from
Right.
work and then
Yep.
just be like, Chicago's within driving distance.
Right.
We'll just drive there in a day, hang out, drive back.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
all it was.
Right.
So no, never been like really motivated to go do anything really.
Yeah.
Like
We've never
I mean,
never
I'm
pushed it either.
motivated but never actually like act on any of it.
Went through it. Yeah. 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 For sure. Yep. I mean, just like the draft thing in Vegas, right? Like you're motivated to get to a certain point, but then do you actually act on it? Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm asking. Is like, have you ever been pushed to the point where the event has been the thing to push you? Because we did it in New Orleans, sort of on accident. We knew that that Halloween was a big deal down there, and that it was sort of like kind of October,
Oh,
sort of always
hell yeah.
Halloween in New Orleans. It's
Right.
just like all of October is Halloween. So we did go down on that motivation, just knowing that October was a good time for us to travel personally with, vacations and work and whatever. But we didn't go
Yeah.
down on Halloween. We went like the weekend before Halloween or whatever the case was. Like it still wasn't
Okay.
Halloween. So I can't claim that was the event that made us go,
Did you hear any ghost stories when you're down there
No.
because of that? No.
No. We got some
They
floats.
got some.
What's that?
They got some.
Oh, New Orleans is super like haunted or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Like there's voodoo stuff. So we saw a lot of the kind of voodoo culture, just that it penetrates the city. We didn't do anything specific. We did some driving around to see
Sure.
their cemeteries, because their cemeteries all have to be above ground because
All
the
above
groundwater,
ground. Yep.
like they're literally
Yep.
under, like they're at negative 10 feet elevation.
Right.
So all of
Yep.
it. So we
Yep.
drove around and we saw some of those. We saw a parade, maybe two. The town's already decked out for Halloween. So like
Oh, sure.
it was all kind of there, but we knew there was more coming. We were in like the pre terms,
Yeah.
and we didn't go down for the Halloween weekend and shit like that. So
Okay.
I don't have one either. I don't have that. Like,
That sounds super cool though. I would like to go
yeah,
down there because
it was sick.
like we've talked about it before on here. Like serial killer stuff is intriguing to me,
Mm-hmm.
and the ghost stories. And
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans has a very famous one.
I didn't know that.
Axeman of New Orleans.
Oh,
Never
shit.
caught, but he's got kind of a fun folklore where he wanted to hear everybody play jazz. And he
Oh.
was like, everybody plays jazz at this time or I'm killing people. And nobody knew who he was. He was just like leaving like cryptic messages out there. So like, it's like, whatever, 2:00 in the morning and everybody's in their house is like,
Really?
He's like, hell yeah, jazz is going on tonight.
Oh, wow. That's crazy, dude.
I know, right?
That's really crazy. Wow.
Yep.
I'd join you on an adventure like that. I don't like all that ghost stories and shit, but what a good reason to go back to New Orleans. Like, and experience some of that culture. It'd be fucking cool.
Right. It's like super fun, but like has this weird dark undertones.
Right.
It was like everybody's so happy to be playing jazz. Just because they don't want to get murdered.
That's because they don't want to die.
What?
You're like, just fade
Okay.
out. What the fuck? Oh shit. All right, man. Well, we've done enough. We could go on. I think we could go on for a while. I have like 3 events on the notes that we haven't even talked about, but that's okay because hey, we tend to do 2 hours. And if you don't like that, go over to realaf.tv/contact and let us know if we're dragging this shit on too long. Me and Tim can talk about anything. In fact, tune in for episode 41, where me and Tim are going to talk about tampons in the random take.
Yeah, there's so many different kinds. I mean, let's get into it right now.
Okay.
There are, just
look us up. It's Real AF TV, the Real Like Fish and Real. We're on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Please go over to YouTube and give us the like and subscribe and all that other shit. Give us the reviews on iTunes and Spotify, and you know how it works. Thanks for listening. Tim, what did I miss?
heavy flow.
Light days. I don't know. Amy Schumer.